Howdy, everybody. This is WindyCityThetanWatch. We're in the studio tonight, and we've got a great guest with us tonight. I'm such a big fan of everything she does. And when we bring on, I'm going to tell I really appreciate how much she supports the people that are out there on the streets all the time doing this work. So tonight, I am going to just play our intro, and then we'll bring on our guest, Lara FM.
We won't let them take control. Guard the streets and guard your soul. Windy City, ThetanWatch, standing tall, we won't be caught. No cop gonna claim our town. In the breeze, we bring them down.
Thetan, Windy, Thetan City Watch.
How you doing, Laura? Great, Laura. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
I've heard it pronounced a couple of ways. So is it Lara or is it Lucille?
It's Lucille. Yeah. Very clear, obviously. It's just Lara.
Nice.
And people can hear that in all kinds of ways. I figured it out. I was like, oh, okay. People hear differently, just like music, just like people can't sing in every note. People hear differently. So I could say it, Lara, how I say it as a million more times, which I will always in the future. Lara. But people are going to hear it how they hear it. So I think I don't care anymore. And I just love that people are interested in talking to me, or if they're calling my name, it better be something nice. Otherwise, fuck you.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. And one of the a lot of stuff to cover tonight. One of the things that I think you do have that 0 F's given attitude that I love that you've found yourself, and I find it amazing because I worry so much about people that are in these high control groups and the idea that that their lives have been so controlled over what's going on, and I just love that you're you and you just don't care if what anybody else's opinion of that process is, which is awesome, right?
I feel like I do care. I know a lot of people say that I don't care. And I say that I don't care and I don't care. Right. But I do care because I go my whole life and the world is taught, oh, if somebody doesn't like you, you better think about it hard and wonder why. And oh my God, what did I do? What did I, when it could just be the other person. And so I just love, it's not that I don't care. I care so much that if I hear you say something that's a remark about me, or she's insane, or she's like this, that's not me. So I go, I don't care about your judgment of me without getting to know me, without ever speaking to me. That's where I don't care, because my mission is so strong. My love is so strong for my parents, for my dad, whether it should be that way or not. For some reason, I do have that for my for my friends that were stuck in the Sea Org. They're my age now. And I'm going like, there's a good chance that brainwashed or not, they can get out. So I do care. I do care. It would be amazing to see Gayla Gualteri or Vanessa Delderfield or Kalinda or these other old cadets from the Int Ranch or from my childhood, whatever that is called, right? My definition of childhood. It would be great to see them out of the Sea Org. That whether they were still in the brainwashed, Scientology, because you will be. It's right. Impossible to just step out and be like, I'm out, even when you think you're out. Like, it's like, okay, you're out now. Tell your brain to learn that, because you just. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing the long-windy answer. But yeah, I do care very much. I care very much in aspects and fields that maybe some people don't like, or don't feel that like I should be giving my love to certain people in the Sea Org or my care or something because, of the actions they've created. Anyways, I do care, but I do not give a 0 F's given about people who want to judge me and just spit it and then don't give me anything. It's just bleh. And it's like, oh, I could just throw that right up against the wall. So yeah.
I'm still going to say that's an amazing ability because, and yeah, I don't like when I'm criticized either. And you always take that point of, well, does it really matter? And then who's the person telling me this critical element? And do they have any right to have that kind of authority over me or tell me about?
And we give ourselves the authority for that person to have the authority to say it, right? Like nobody, who gives them the right? Technically only God or an outside just, what do you mean? There's no right. It just is. It's like, if you could clearly see a person, clearly, I've got my instruments around me. I'm getting excited about doing like my own personal live tubes and really diving into my art world. Like, even like having fun with my audience, because I loved being here in my little bubble, and so, yeah, I'll go out and protest and do all that, but I love being here with my bubble with the audience and going into it. So therapeutic, and I haven't done it in a while because I've just been protesting and being wild.
That's awesome. And this is so I love the studio. I like the backdrop there, and the idea that many of the people that we know as former Scientologists, I'm going to say it awkwardly. It feels like they're one-trick ponies, or they do something. Music, fashion, that you go down so many avenues in regards to how you present your life, how you put your life out there, and art. I think the creativity that it takes to be an artist, whether or not it's music, lyrics, art itself. Your fashion sense. You're much more of a peacock than I see from most of the other former Scientologists. And that's not a knock on anybody. It's just an observation, right?
Yeah. But are you just saying that as a statement, or were you asking, is there some reason I feel that I have that and others don't, maybe?
Well, I will ask this, that were you, so you are so outward. I always feel that you radiate all the time. I can't imagine while you were in the Sea Org that this was at all your personality. How did you get involved in music? How did you get involved in any of this?
I would say this was very much my personality in the Sea Org.
Okay, that's awesome.
Everybody in the Sea Org. That's why I did. That's why I was controlled so much. I was like, there's Lara, and it was Megan, right? So in the Sea Org, my whole life, the whole time, I was called Megan. My childhood name, my childhood was Megan. There was no Lara in this until later in my life. I figured out the whole connecting dots mentally about visual pictures of being like, oh, I was at this Social Security office in the city with 10 other cadets, or maybe even 20 at the time. And I remember we were all dressed really nice and we had to look really good. And we were getting our Social Securities. We were getting our Social Security numbers at like 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, because some part, like myself, I was born in a different situation than most people that aren't being controlled or trafficked into a cult. But yeah, so you said, what was your question? You said, how did you get into Scientology?
Yeah, well, no, it was more at that point. How did you find music? But I guess that you found music even while you were in, or it sounds.
What do you
like
mean? So what do you mean by find music? Like ever first listening to music ever?
Well, you
'Cause
create.
finding
You're a
music-
creator, right?
So I never created music in Scientology at all. That wasn't an option. And if it was always going to be your position or your post. Your job in the Sea Org is going to be your number one. But yes, if you're talented and you can, work with the Golden Era musicians whenever we have parties or events, maybe you can be singing as one of the singers for Golden Era musicians. And to me, that was like a big dream from being a cadet, thinking the only world was going up to Int and being an executive. I was like, oh, cool. I can still be part of this art music group called the Golden Era Musicians. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. Like, and I was thinking like all the people in there, they're so dorky and quirky. Like now I'm like, I just can't imagine what hole that would have taken me down if I had really done all that. But anyway, so yeah, I was very much, loved music, and Lara FM is my band. It's my sort of artist name and my brand. But that's basically fully because of when my childhood in the 90s, being in the middle of Hemet, in the middle of nowhere, being not only just being in the middle of nowhere in Hemet, California, in the desert, but being on Native Indian reservation, and not being allowed, and not having the city being allowed to go on the property without permission from the Native Indians. And then they notify the ranch person. They called them the ranch IC. So the whole life there was just there was no pockets or no openings for me to have ever been able to really like learn or be okay and really indulge into music, because music kind of art, what I've discovered, music and art and being able to just be kind of pulls you out of sort of controlled situations. It can pull you out. It shows you freedom in another way. So you kind of relate it to other. That's how it was for me. That's how it. So music always has been there with me through so much of my coming up in the world and learning life the way I did. Only because we were only allowed to listen to the radio station, Lara FMs. That's where the FM comes from.
Right.
So we were always listening to the FM radio, Baja California, Mexico, like all of out in the desert.
I imagine it was while you had other children around you at the ranch, that there's an isolationism about that whole process, isn't there? That you don't see the real world, like you don't see anybody but your fellow cadets, right?
And the adults, yeah. And then the random one or two people that come throughout the week, like that they would call WOGs, or they basically non-Scientologists, but that would be the propane guy, or the like a gas company, or somebody bringing in the chemicals for the dishwashing system that the kids would be doing. We'd be like, oh, cool, you're putting in the whatever, and they would be like, yeah, you got to back up a little bit. Like, and we're like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm sure kids were just saying, oh, we do this every day. Like, we're going to be screwing those, like the little bucket lids on that. Anyway, so that, or the Frito-Lay truck once every 2 weeks or something would go to fill up the canteen. That was near the end of like the later years of the ranch before we got shipped off to Clearwater. Frito-Lay was one of the ways, being in a confined property in the middle of nowhere that not even the city or anybody can really access fast in the moment. Like, people were flying over the ranch, news reporters, German reporters. We can talk about that later, but there were news reporters flying over the ranch just to get any aerial footage of kids working and digging trenches, which they did. They definitely did, because they caught it. They came right over the canyon, and they were just, I'm sure they were on it. They knew, and you could see the camera out the plane getting these kids, and you would see us run. We were trained and drilled to go inside and just hide in the greenhouses and all the things that we worked on at the ranch. So yeah, everything was very secluded and very on the ranch. And the only time we had people coming on the ranch was either that or for PR situations, like having the children from, or having the children of the native Indians that were around come and visit, and you could smell the perfume and all like that's, as a child, that's what I remember. Oh my God, the ranch is going to smell for 10 years of perfume because of all the non-Scientology, they came over, but they were really just doing it to make the kids be, oh, look, our kids are hanging out with the other kids. So look, it was like good PR for the ranch. It was just trying to handle the disconnect, like the separation between these Indians, that thought that there was going to be a private boarding school, like nothing to do. And here they find out it's Scientology, and there was so many, imagine throughout the 11 years, I was there for 11 years at the Inn Ranch. And there was so many times there were kids screaming and having tantrums or whatever, right? And we were pretty potty mouthy. I still am. And so, I mean, they literally would report sometimes to the sheriff or whoever, like, oh yeah, are they okay? I heard some kids screaming, fuck you, and all kinds of crazy shit. And you can hear it through the canyon, right?
It's got to echo like crazy, and the sound's going to travel like crazy.
So they heard that stuff all the time. So I can't imagine they're just going like, what the hell? So they were always attacking the ranch, is what I'm saying. They always were like doing something where they just resented Scientology being there, let alone these kids who were being controlled and whatever.
I actually love that message, that I feel like it's hidden. Like, let's hear. Today in Chicago, I will say that it's an innocuous building. People don't really know what it stands for, what it is, and what it's doing. And very few of the local neighbors realize that there's a danger involved in what's going on there. And I love that what you're basically saying is that the neighbors in your area, or the people that were around Hemet, realized exactly what this was. And they wanted to do whatever they could to, whether it was vocalize or legislate or whatever they could do to try to penetrate the the abuses that were going on in that space.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was the locals very much. It was just kind of some of the drunk Indians having, wandering off over to the bridge that was really close, this little creek bridge that was close to the front gate. And so when kids are running out the gate, running off or whatever, the Indians would be there drinking and doing whatever out by the truck. And there was many instances where there was like Tara Harris and Lena, forget her last name at the moment. They were running away from one of the Indians, like pointing a gun at them, saying like, get at it. Like, like whatever, just threatening them with the gun. So they run. So that was a huge thing. And then the sheriff came and there was another time where we were on the school bus that was made to look like a school bus that was just basically shoveling the kids and the adults from the Golden, which was only 15 minutes away from the Int Ranch, going to and from. So it was like the one school bus that's not a school bus, but to the outside world, they're thinking, okay, there's that school bus, but not that it's okay or whatever. But they were always constantly definitely shooting bullets or things through the windows and stuff, like at the school bus, while the school bus, so it was just bad PR. So what I'm saying is they try to use the kids and the Int Ranch kids to sort of fraternize and mingle to make it like, hey, you guys don't have to hate us. We're all fun and great. So we were trained to be very respectful and in PR so imagine kids hanging out with trained children that are soldiers that are it was just so fucking weird. Weird is not the word, but my vocabulary doesn't have the words for the way that we mentally were grown up.
I'll say that I even see it with what I'm about to say is that the people that are in Scientology, they are very good at being two-faced. They are very ebullient, happy. They're huggy. They say hello to the other members. And also if they're engaging green people, if they're trying to recruit somebody, they're the happy-go-lucky people. But then when it comes to me or any of the other protesters, right, you have such a different persona that comes out of that. And I even see that with the children that walk up, that are the children of these staff members. They're very stone-faced to me, but you can see when they go in, they start to do things like play tag almost. Not that they won't do it right then, but if I see them through the back door, they're doing things like playing tag, or what seems somewhat usual for a child to be doing. But they're so well trained that they know that I'm the devil and I'm a criminal and I've got to be as flat toned as possible to that guy outside.
Yeah. And remember, they don't think devil. They don't think religious at all. They think you're a degraded being. You're a negative person. You're suppressive and you're just spreading propaganda and lies and bigotry about Scientology. That's just their view. And they're like, and the only person that can help you is the international justice chief. And because you're a suppressive, and like the PTSSP course is supposed to confront and shatter suppression. You're supposed to be able to confront these SPs. So a lot of the times I'm definitely like, hey, where's your TRs? Isn't communication the universal solvent? Like, I'm using these acronyms or quotes that L. Ron Hubbard would use or say to kind of get back to them in their mental state of being, because I remember how I was. So I'm using things that I can't believe I'm even saying, because I'm like, if I would have heard that, I would have walked away thinking about that. So people out in the outside, this is where I'm like, I don't care how people think I protest, whether they like it or not. That's where I go. It's not that I don't care. It's just I have a tactic and you can see it or not, but it's working. It is working. Yeah. I interact with people who don't want to talk to me. And I'm like, look at you. You're talking to me. You're not supposed to be talking to the SP, but I know how to do it. So yeah, I forgot where we were going with that, but yeah.
We always get to talk, so just keep talking. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the start, because I know roughly your story, but I was very surprised this past week when you had mentioned that you had aunts or uncles that were still in. That I know your father's story very well, but I don't know anything else about that. So, how big was your family's presence in Scientology, or how many of your family members were in?
So I'm going to start from the beginning really quick and just give you a little, family sort of understanding, so you can kind of go, oh, I see how this all happened. So my whole family that I know of I mean, not that I know my family, but the people that I know of that are talking to me or not, or who I just am learning, are all from Canada. They're all from Canada, right?
Okay.
So 1986, my mother and my father, well, before 1986, I was born in 1986, February 12th in Hollywood. But they were all in Canada at the Toronto organization. My mom and my father met at the Scientology organization in Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
That's where they met in, I forget, 1970 something, 8, 6, whatever. Then they were there, and then they joined the Sea Org in Canada. They were like, okay, we like this, this is going to be. So before even that, before I even existed or was thought about being existed into this world, my mother was a ballet dancer. And my father did construction work and things like this. Like, so it came into like, it was like almost like these two people from whatever aspects of life that they came from in Canada and their family. Right. They met at the Scientology organization. I know my dad was probably, looking for something. Oh God, somebody gave him a flyer and he's like, oh, I should probably do something better with my life or whatever. Right. And then my mom's she was a ballet dancer, and there was she had some argument or some disagreement. Okay. I can't even say argument. I cannot. Mom, still waiting for a lot of answers to be answered, questions to be answered. But, and a lot of answers that I have heard. Are they valid? Are they correct, Mom? Right. I need you to give me affirmation. I need to make sure this isn't a lie. So my mom apparently broke her foot as a ballet dancer when she was like 23 or 24 years old or something. And that is a bad thing. When you're a ballet dancer, a professional, she was a professional lead ballet dancer. I'm sorry. I was doing research on all these ballet and how, and people's dramatic stories and documentaries of just ballet dancers. Right. And it's so horrendous. It's so, talk about suppressive. Ballet is so suppressive, right? And my mom, I'm sure if you ever watch this, Mom, you'd be like, it is. You're right. Wow. My daughter finally said something I agree with. But anyway, so ballet is an art in emotion. You have to elegantly dance and perform with almost the most utter strength and pain at the same time. And with whatever that's doing with your emotions, it doesn't matter. You have to show the audience that you're elegant and beautiful, and nothing it's easy. Nothing takes any. Anyway, so I couldn't imagine my mom coming from that, breaking the foot, that whole thing happened. Somebody pushed her off the stage, allegedly. Okay. One of the other dancers pushed her off and she broke the foot. So coming back from that as a ballet dancer is not going to happen. Once you break a foot, that's like you lost your career, basically. So she was apparently in a big slump, like sort of a depression, and whatever. I would like to know more. There's big gaps that I'm missing, but from there, I know that she ended up finding herself in Scientology because she had heard about it. And my mother also went to high school with John Travolta. That was another thing. Yeah, I have a picture of them. Oh, maybe I'll save that for my own, so I don't over chat my whole life. I'm like, so Windy, let me tell you my whole life. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me these questions.
That's why we have you here today.
Anyway,
so I will say with ballet, it's athletic, and I also think that there's the food and look pressure that it's like a young gymnast. This idea that they're going to. It's hard to believe there aren't a lot of ballet artists that aren't going through bulimia, anorexia, those types of problems, because image is, and
image, emotional.
Every movie you see, every movie you see, the director of the group is a DICK, right, all the time.
Yep.
Right?
And same with the director of the ballet or the film or whatever. They're in their thing and they want it their way, and I'm going to get it whatever way I can. That reminded me really quickly, the ballet thing. I learned what got me more into researching about my mom and the ballet thing. I'm like, so what happened? Because I didn't know about her breaking her foot or any of this until I was secretly knowing I was going to leave Scientology. Like I was gonna finally tell my dad, but my aunt was here in LA at the fucking Blue Building doing her OT freaking preps or something, right? Spending all of her retirement money on OT, only getting to OT3 and then having to go back or something like that. Anyways, And I said, oh, my aunt doesn't know anything about my, ranch behavior or what I shouldn't know about my mom. Like, I just knew that because I knew what even her as a public Scientologist, she's not allowed to know information about my mom that is like, she's not allowed to know executive internal information of the Sea Org. She's only allowed to know outside public stuff. And at this time, she wasn't on staff, which she is now, but we'll get to that. But my aunt, I'm losing track. My aunt, Blue Building, OT.
Right. Finding out about ballet, and you were trying to probe her to figure out.
So I was just like, oh, aunt. She's like, oh, come visit. I'm staying at one of, a cute little apartment building and I'm just renting out a room from, it's a Scientology owned building. And I was like, oh, okay. I go, it's right down this. It's so weird that I live very close to the Blue Building now. Cause I'm like, this is just so full circle back at it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming back. Anyways, my aunt lived really close and she showed me, she said, come meet. And so I meet her and I said, okay. She was like, oh, just be quiet because somebody's sleeping because they're doing sessions. So I know they're on like OT where they have to like prep and they have to go and get the CS is watching that. Anyways, I'm going on a roll. But my aunt, we had a moment where I was like, oh my God, auntie, I love you. I missed you, and she's like, so how are you doing? Whatever. And I wasn't doing good. I was couch surfing and all kinds of things, but I was just like, I'm doing good. Yeah, let's go eat. I was just kind of being good PR for her. But I said, I was like, I don't know how I got into it, but I knew before I was going to meet up with my aunt that day, I was like, I'm going to ask her about my mom's pictures. Oh, I think I said, I was organizing pictures and mom's a ballet dancer. So I'm doing music video and I want to ask. Yeah. And I actually was doing the music video. This is all adding up now. And I asked her, I said, and she started telling me, she was like, yeah. Oh, did you know that, your mom was like a really good dancer? She was one of the leads. Do you know that that's a hard thing to get? She was being flown out to New York, to Williamsburg in the theater. And I didn't know anything she was saying. Like my life had not started really in music or anything, even when we were talking about this. Like, and this was only like 7 years ago. Like I just felt like I was kind of, I do music, but I had never written of my own music. It was just like my party band, first music, first band going on tour. So she told me all this, going on a long roll, guys. This might be a long one. But anyway, so I learned that and that shocked me. It shocked me because I never understood why she stopped doing ballet. I was like, even if you join science in my mind, and I felt like it was too threatening to ask, like Leah Remini, when she was like, where's Shelly? I thought it was like, even though I had left the Sea Org, because I know the internal, like you're not allowed to know this information, even though I was outside in the outside world and still mentally a Scientologist to them. And I was going, no, I'm not, but let's see how far I can get away with this kind of. I was so shocked that the reason my mom stopped doing ballet was because she broke her foot and that she never told me about it.
Yeah.
And that she was always so like, oh no, like sorry. It's like she was like, I'm showing my daughter out of valence things. They call it other fish to fry. Like if she's showing me her amazing ballet professional photos, that it would make me out of valence. It would make me want to go do something else other than Sea Org and Scientology.
Yep.
Anyway, so I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, my aunt told me about it. And that's all. I have no other info. I wish if there's somebody out there that knew my mom as a ballet dancer in 1970 and shit like that, please. I have old paintings and photos that a professional painter came in and painted her. Like, so I have all these things on a freaking USB that she finally gave me before I got declared SP. But anyways, yeah, it is so effed up.
Yeah. One thing. So when we're talking about your mom, she broke her foot, and I'm gonna make up a story here, but it's probably a true story. Probably falls into a bit of depression, like, oh no, now what do I do with my life?
Yeah, no, that definitely. My aunt's words were, because my aunt does know about the outside world, and she was like, oh yeah, psychiatry. So her mind's learning to not believe in psychiatry, but she still knows the terminology. So she slipped that. And they don't use that depression. They don't use depression as like you don't use that. You don't use anything that has to do with the mind that's about psychiatry. Never, nothing. Psychology, psychiatry, don't say it. It's auditing and touch assist, and that's it. Anyways, so yeah, when my aunt said that, it felt weird because we were close. And it was cool that she could even tell me something so personal that my own mother couldn't tell me. But she said it in such a way that I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, she was in a depression. And Scientology saving the world seemed much bigger and better than her dream of being a ballet dancer.
Yeah. Whenever I'm on the street, you'll hear me say this a lot. The reason that I think it's important that I take that flyer away from people is I don't want it to be stuck in their drawer on a day when they broke up with their boyfriend or when they break their foot in ballet, because I don't want that to be an option, because Scientology feeds on that. If you go into Scientology with any kind of that message, they're going to pick up on it, and they're, ruin, I guess, would be what it is. And it's just so scary to me that people would have these laying around in a time when they're at their lowest point in life for whatever reason.
And that is literally the whole point of the flyers and these little QR codes. Oh my God. Can I show you something really quick that just happened right before I got on this live stream with you? I'm going to show you a video. I just did this. Sorry, guys. I just did this. I don't know if you can hear it. This was in the laundry room. Oh, let me turn it. Come on. Dang it. Okay, I don't know if you're going to see it. I'm throwing trash away.
Right.
And you see those Scientology, the pamphlets, and I say they go in the trash. I'm in the laundry room, and look at right here's another whole. They have these little cards, a whole thing of cards that have just a QR code. You see that? And I go, I just take the whole thing and dump it in the trash, as I did. Anyways. So the reason I bring that up is that, they get people exactly like this at their hardest points. And nowadays it's a quick scan. It's a QR code. And people could be at their lowest point and they will be so effing loyal. People at their lowest point that quote unquote get helped when they need it the most. They're going to be that's what happens. You become loyal. You're like, I really feel like I owe my life to this organization now. And so every time, like I just showed you, I pick them up and dump them in. And like I was going to make a joke saying like, well, are you making sure they're not false reporting their stats when they go back into the organization? Right. Are they counting that as a point? Or are you giving back and say, take that off your stat, don't false report, or you're going to be assigned treason?
I don't know if you know the movie Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
So when he gets the girl's number and the college prick is there, right? And he goes up to the diner afterwards and he says, do you like apples? And then, what do you mean? Of course I like apples. Well, how do you like those apples? And he slams the phone number up against the window just to show, look what I did.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I'll go with the flyers and I'll take them right up to, I can't touch the window because I know I'll get trespassed.
Yeah.
You're like right in front of the camera. Hey, take these off. Right.
Yeah. Yay. Take 4 off. I have don't lie. The camera saw it. Security saw it. Totally.
Now, one thing that, and people have asked me before, like, why don't they just walk down the street and dump in the garbage? I do think that they're scared loyal in those situations. I don't think that they.
No, and 100%. There's somebody in that laundromat that is being controlled for sure by a specific Sea Org member, I'm not even joking. Like a Sea Org member comes there. Hi, how are you? Great. And here's the flyer. And it's like, no, you don't do this. And they all seem Christian and like Catholic there. Right. They don't, it's like they have crosses with Jesus and things like that. I'm like, you aren't Scientologists. So I don't know. I love that laundromat. I've been going there for like 5 years. So I don't mind. Every time I see them, I just go. It's one of my routines that I'm excited to go to the laundromat, get a dump. I have so many videos like that where I'm like, okay, and so they got smaller and smaller. And now they're on these little QR codes where, if somebody's in their lowest point and they pick that up, you're possibly ruining your whole life by picking up a card. And Scientologists go, you're probably saving their life by just that one QR code. Imagine that. So they put it out everywhere. Yes. And somebody in here, I don't have access to highlight comments, and I normally do with my chat, which is so weird. But somebody said, I wonder if they have those flyers at laundromats in Clearwater 2, Bridge 1872. They definitely do. They have them. Like, just look, you're going to see anything with a QR code. It's either like some local community party or something. Otherwise, it's a QR code for Scientology. Like anything, it's like, we can help. It won't say Scientology directly, but the moment you go in and it says L. Ron Hubbard, anything, you just know, okay, this is a Scientology thing. So yes, pick up the box, throw them in the trash. The pamphlets are there for public use. They are there. You will not get in trouble if you go into a business and take the pamphlets and throw them in the trash. I mean, don't take that as legal advice, but
Right.
for myself, this is public property. They are giving, and for me, I'm going, no, this is a lie, and I'm throwing it away, saving the property. I mean, saving the public from anyway. So yeah, I did that today in laundry before I went on with you, and that was really good. Shit like that makes me feel really good and like you said, stopping them even from the thing. You literally are saving somebody's lives. Right after I stopped and saw DOA today, I turned right because they had L. Ron Hubbard Way open. So I turned right. I was like, I'm going down this street. Finally, they have it open, after all the protesting we've done. And like, you don't have a permit. You're a liar. The cases we've won in the lawsuits.
Yep.
So I go down the street and literally I stop and I go, hi, you guys. I can see that you're in the middle of an auditing process right now. And they're in the middle of, and the one guy who was new, you could tell was listening, going like, oh, okay. And I'm like, but you're in a cult. This is a manipulative cult. I was in the C organization and I start just saying it right. That's like my pitch. Cause at least I have that where I can say, I was in it. Don't even try to argue with me because I was the one telling you what to believe. So listen to me. Like, so.
That's awesome. And the formers have such a big advantage over me because, again, you can speak their language and you can speak from fact. Oh.
No, because the way you do it, Windy, I have to congratulate you now that we're here. The way that you handle yourself and the way that you communicate and the way that you present yourself, people can see that you're not stupid. You have, and I'm assuming this, you've probably gone to school and you have education and you're not, you know what I mean? Like you're not a stupid person. And so the way you say like, hey, are you guys okay with being a part of a human trafficking cult? Like things like that. The way you say things, I just think are like, I want to do better like that. I want to just be straight to the point. Hey, I was in the Sea Org. I know. Please listen to me. You're in a cult. Go on YouTube. Just listen to it. Go on the internet. Look up Scientology. Like you'll find it. I just try to say it quick, but you do great. You really do. And that's why I was also very excited to have this amazing therapeutic interview with you.
You might have mail because I think I sent you an admin link. So you should, because I do want us to show some of these. I'll say that I usually concentrate on what's going on here. So these things fly by me really fast.
Yeah. And I see some and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, or I'll just start talking about it because I see the question. So I'm like, oh, good. And then it sounds like I'm just talking and talking and talking. When I'm by myself, I'm like, I can go on a rant because people like to jump in my little Lara head and be on my rant with me. But yeah. So I have to go. Do I need to go into?
I think if you read your email, there's probably going to be a link that allows you to be an admin.
Okay, let me see if I can do it really quick. Otherwise, we'll do it next time.
Folks, stand by on our technical difficulties because Paul's an idiot.
Accept invite. No, you're not. You are now part of the team. It says I'm part of the team. I am part of the team. I am part of the team.
But we're not a team. We're all individuals. We are all individuals.
The team has a tendency to know what the other team members are doing and thinking. Okay, so let's see if I'm able to click on things. Lara, any others? Oh, no, I'm not. Am I? Do I have to do something more?
I don't know. Now I'm going to have to ask somebody in the audience because the audience is much smarter than us.
Okay, I wonder if I enter the studio as another person, if I can just pop up and jump in another screen. Let's see. It'll be see, it's two people.
Yes.
I like that.
And now can you play?
I'm wondering if I should mute this one. Can you hear me?
You're only once. I'm not hearing an echo.
Okay, so this is my backstage one. Dang. So you could hear me on that, but the audience could. Okay, whatever.
All right. Let's do this. If you see one, and again,
hold on, I can remove this. Is this the one? I wonder if I should remove.
Go ahead and I'll add you back as quickly as if you need to.
You see how there's two of me?
So you are an admin now. All right, now.
So I have to stop one of these.
Yes, and now we do get echo.
Okay.
Laura, 2-1.
Okay, I'm gonna wait.
We
Download this.
both had the same idea and picked the wrong one.
Okay. Kick from
But
studio.
can you click? Oh,
Okay, good. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I kicked myself out. So we'll just do it on I'll do it on another one. Oh wait, I can do it now, guys. I did it. We did it.
Yeah.
Look at okay, I love here. Kelly, there we go. I love how Lara FM educates while protesting at Blue. I love how Wendy asked, "Can you tell me something positive about your religion today?" Yes, that's another one. That's a great one to ask. Anybody can ask that. Can you tell me something positive? Because
it's so not offensive. It's the idea
so
that
that's exactly it's so not offensive, and then it has to make the Sea Org member or the Scientologist have to think about it. Like, yeah, of course I have. What? You have so much positive things, right? What? Just give me one like quick thing.
twice I've gotten a response.
It's very
I've gotten a
uncomfortable.
response twice, and
Okay.
I'm gonna almost everybody's gonna know what the response is. Well, if I asked you that and you were walking by quickly, what would your first response be to? Is there anything positive about your church? The thing
I
they
would
always say is
say
everything.
it's
They say
made me a
everything.
better person. Right.
Yeah. It's the everything, and it's like, okay, everything.
Oh,
What?
they
Are
say
you
everything.
taller? Are you faster?
But
Are
do
you
they say
smarter?
everything and then they keep going,
Yeah,
or what?
absolutely.
And they don't answer right. You've never
Correct.
gotten an actual good answer.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
There's one public once told us that that we didn't know anything about Scientology, and he said, "Hey, if you don't even know Dianetics, I've read Dianetics. I'm not a big fan of the book, but I've read Dianetics." So it's sort of like he came to
How
me
did
and
you
said,
get through it?
it-
Did it not boggle your mind a bit?
No, because what it was is I had already known that Scientology was batshit crazy. So I just wanted to go through there to figure out, what do these people find in this? Like, is this a compelling, a drawing book in? And it was not. I would have said I came to it with a negative sense of Scientology in the first place. So I wanted to get through it because I wanted to be able to refute the question of, you've never read the book, right? And it's like,
See, this
you're
is
wrong.
why I
have the
asked
book.
you, how did you get through it? Because any intelligent person, or even some just casual that haven't had to go through school, like had to have degrees or whatever. No, just anybody who's interested in self-betterment or something goes to read it, and they're like, what the fuck am I reading? At a certain point, they're just like, this is a lot. Like, this is like, either they're like not getting it, they like, and even for me, I was like, oh, it's probably because I have misunderstood words, clearly. Otherwise, but that's why I asked, how'd you get through it? Because I tried to do that. I tried when I left the Sea Org, and then even when I went back into good standings and paid my freeloader bill and all the crap to Scientology, right? I was really going, I wonder if I could read Dianetics and clear myself. I wonder if this is a real thing. I'll just secretly do it without being at the org, since like, fuck that, they're just gonna like use my money and energy, and I could just do it myself. I could supervise myself. That's what the original intention of Dianetics was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, random person could pick up the book on a shelf in the library and start co-auditing or whatever it is with somebody. I don't know what they call it in the book, but start doing these steps with anybody in the world right there, right? That was supposed to be how it is, but I just can't seem, I get complete, like, I don't know what trauma or what brain. I either get so sleepy and tired the moment I pick up anything about L. Ron Hubbard now, like so tired, like I'd rather be sleeping, or I'm going like, how did even the 1,000 people, how did all the Sea Org members get through this book? Most of them have never read Dianetics. That's the truth too.
And I do think that now, I agree that most haven't, and I interact with a lot of staff members. There's not a lot of public that come to Chicago. I will have some, and Bridge is recalling that the story I was going to tell you, right, is the one guy that would tell us what he was answering all the time was, the only reason that Scientology exists is to end wars. And I'm like, but you've never ended a war. Like, you're for whatever in regards to ending a war.
And a lot of people use that as a tool to get people into Scientology. Can you imagine if we had Scientology across the whole world, there wouldn't be any more war. So like, people are like, oh my God, if we could really use communication, if communication is a universal solvent and that's the ingredient to handle this war, people are going to be like, hey, we need to get a bunch of people into Scientology.
we have two widely known wars right now, right? I mean, we could say the Ukraine conflict
Well,
and
yeah,
and Gaza. Hey, Scientology, get over there. Go stop this. Show us what you got. Right? Bless you.
Well, they will. Thank you. They will, as long as they can use it as a gold PR shoot, and they'll be there just for the day, for 24 hours. That's it.
Yep. My guess is that no matter what Scientology does, they will not end either of those conflicts.
Yeah.
There is a question that's on here, and I do want to ask that question. I know we're jumping around a lot, but Sally,
no, I love it.
Want to...
I love it. We have a solid list of questions that we can even go quickly through if I didn't already answer them all through these random talks and chat. I knew this would happen because I love Windy. I really got to give you props. There's not one person that I've spoken about you. I've said, oh, you know, Windy. Oh, yeah. See, he seems great. Literally. And there's been a lot of conflicts in our little SPTV community here, right? And thank God for them, honestly. Honestly, it's like, thank God for them, because at this point, it's only making me stronger. It's like, I can see even more human behavior. I can see it's pretty amazing. But anyways, you have been a very pure, hey, this is what we're about. Let's reel it back. And not let's reel it back. You're doing a great job. And what can this has helped me. Like the way that you explain things. And anyways, I'm just saying you're a great example for people that want to know how to protest or begin to do it. You're a great person.
Blush.
Sorry, but you also are very therapeutic for people that were born and raised in the Sea Org and that are doing these shows. You're very easy to listen to. I've been at work doing all kinds of work, and here you are in my ear, and you're like, and the reason with the children, and it's like literally, I'm going like, how come? Why did that just lift a whole book of fucking weight off of my shoulders? Like, how did that just happen? How did that, like what he just said goes, oh, like that just made so much. It's like clarity and like, oh, if I had that knowledge when I was a kid, like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, so thank you.
Well, now you're not going to make me blush. I might cry. But
just keep it up. Just keep it up, Windy. Don't let us down.
Cubs Champion is another. I'm a big fan of Cubs Champion, and
I am too.
I love these people that are just out there, just pounding the pavement all the time.
I am too. Cubs Champs is one of the people I was thinking of when I'm just like, I'm me. I'm going to go out and support people that are doing the things that I am doing in the way they're doing it. And that could be anything. It can be any way. It can be how you do your shy, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. If I see you, that's dope. You went and said, I'm going to have a little mission. This is going to be now. And I don't think people come in to go, oh, I'm just going to go protest for a week. No, they come in going, cool, I'm going to start bringing down Scientology. And to me, and to see people like Clubs Champion 16, if you're not following him, go look at it on YouTube, Clubs Champion 16. People like
Cubs.
that, like Cubs. I said clubs. Oh my God. I was thinking of the clubs like in a card. I'm like, because can we get the where's the card pack? Can I flaunt my card pack to you guys?
Are we about to do humanity?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to show you.
You know, one thing I will say is that when you show up,
thanks for playing. It's my new cards because I loved one of the things that healed my brain psychologically was playing solitaire. In times that I was like, I need to do something. My life is going to end soon. That's just what it feels like as a child. You just feel like when you're on the outside world now, you're like, oh my God, I need to get going. I need to get things done. I don't have much time. It's like this PTSD stress.
Similar to what you just expressed, that there are times where I've been fortunate enough to have lifted you up because of something you've heard when I'm out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that when you come in, and you usually are just emojis, but I get lifted up because I feel like, okay, I'm doing something for the reason I'm out there is to lend voice to the people who are victimized by this cult. Right. And I've said before, I may get people out, I may not get people out, but I want to stop people from going in. I don't want other people to suffer the way that you suffered. And that's the reason why I have such a preventative desire in regards to what's going on here. But it's so uplifting to us who are on the street when a former comes in and just to say hi, right? Just to say, I see you. And and that's it.
It takes effort for somebody to go, okay, All right. I told myself I'm going to do it. I'm going to be out there at 1 o'clock today or after my work. I'm going to get my beer and then I'm going to go and then I'm going to do it. Like that is a plan of somebody's day. We only got a limited amount of days in people's lives. So to me, I think that is incredible. I don't give a crap if there's 30 people out there. I'm going to be in all 30 of your chats at that same organization and be like, all of you are amazing. You are amazing. Like, this is amazing. Like, with a heart, with a horn, a sign, or whatever it is. Like, that is great. Nobody was doing this, not in the public like this, where they're volunteering other than anonymous for a chunk of time. And that only started in 90s. Like, Scientology has been getting away with these crimes and abuses and unlifely, like, actions. The way they just exist and are so inhumane. They pretend that they have a communication course to help children and people. And no, you're teaching people how to numb their emotions and not talk about everything openly.
Right. Yeah. Right. Communication is a universal solvent. Why can't you communicate with me? Why can't you open a comms cycle? Why can't you tell me? Phil Jones, I'm a big fan of Phil Jones as well.
Me too.
That anybody who's a former and still stands on the street as well. And I'm not knocking anybody who doesn't. I just say that it's really, I love when people do that. But Phil had asked me, and a question I ask quite a bit, does the church let you talk about the church? And the only thing there is to get them to think to themselves, yeah, why can't I? Why doesn't the church let me talk about the church? Right. And I'm supposed to be able to communicate. This is not communication. Right. I don't know that it's going to be effective to them. I just always hope that, at night when you go to sleep, in that last second before you finally shut off, you think about something or something comes into your head. I just always want one day for that to be the thing that comes into their head when they're falling asleep. Yeah. Why won't the church let me talk about the church? Right.
Yeah. And also, like, for me, in the way that I grew up, we didn't even really respect the idea of somebody calling it a church. So you come as like a church man being like, hey, as a church person, like, doesn't your church allow this? And they're going like, psh, ah, psh. Like, because they just have no respect for churches. They're not a church. They're hiding behind this church look and this feel, and they're mimicking it perfectly so that they can continue to maintain this status of a religion. But they're absolutely not a fucking religion. They're 100%. Absolute, even in their books and what their things, it's more psychological. It's more of a mind control kind of exercisey group other than a religion, but they somehow are getting away with all of these criminal acts because of the facts that they have the title of a religious status, which is so supposed to be so spiritual and precious that not even the police or the FBI can break into it because that's our freedom. And it's like, like, that should be, I mean, it is against the law, but it should be upheld. Like, how dare you try to manipulate our system into an organization like this, like that Scientology has gotten away with.
We're going to, and this is my opinion, and I'm just an idiot on the streets. We're going to need a more recent former to come out and tell a terrible story about something that's going on right now.
Yeah.
That most of the, and I know this isn't a fully true statement, but most people have been out for 20 years, 10 years. So the idea that their stories are real, but statutes of limitation problems, the idea that, oh, is it happening in this building right now? And it's hard for us to know that. We need somebody in Chicago to quit. We need somebody in LA to quit. We need somebody in Austin to quit and come out and come forward on that. And I think that it's hard for people to come forward because embarrassment, right? The idea that when you finally do decide to come out of Scientology, there's probably some sense of embarrassment, or I want to be away from everybody for a while. So I don't want to be out there on the front lines attacking the church on the first day. Right.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
All right. There was a question earlier and we were supposed to get to this early on. What made you wake up, or what made you decide that I don't want to be in Scientology anymore?
It's not Scientology. First, it's all steps. So it was more like what made me wake up to leave the Sea Org. There's no such thing, I don't think, as like being in the Sea Org and then all of a sudden you're not a Scientologist at all. Like, I just don't think that's a thing. Like,
The step
there's
down
no way
process.
you would have gotten all the way in the Sea Org if you still aren't permanently fucked up by something you believe because of Sea Org or Scientology. But so yeah, it was steps. It was first, you know, wanting to leave the ranch as a child, blowing, they call it blowing. But the amount of times that I would like try to leave the ranch being like, I don't want to do this life anymore. I want to do, there's got to be some other, not got to be. I just thought there wasn't, but I was like, I'm just going to run away and see what happens. And I'm going to go here and see what happens. Oh, then now they're going to put me on this post or demote me to this cleaning job or whatever it was. And all the time I found I was always actually trying to leave. I was not interested in the situation that I was in. I was not interested in being a cadet doing the thing. I was not interested in once I got to, I was interested in leaving the ranch and going to Clearwater. Like, I was like, oh my God, it was the most exciting thing ever. I was like, oh my God, I'm becoming an adult, a real adult. Like, I'm leaving, you know, and here I am 13 being like a real adult. But like, I'm leaving the in ranch to go to Clearwater. And then that was a whole thing. That was a whole awakening of, oh, cool, I'm never going to be a cadet again. I would never go back to being a cadet because I'm already in the Sea Org and I know how the Sea Org is. So I'd never, like, they couldn't demote me more from this. And then it was like, oh, now I'm an HGO and I learned like, oh, the ethics. And now I was running, like, I was putting adults ethics in on all kinds of subjects that I never was allowed to speak about or talk about at the Int Ranch. But now all of a sudden I'm able to. And funny enough, I had seen some of this stuff in folders of adults or cadets at the Int Ranch when I was like sneaking through folders or filing or whatever. So in my psyche, I was almost used to the, even just by reading it and not knowing what rape was or sexual things, I still was being groomed, like to the point where when it did happen, it wasn't that big a deal. It was just out 2D. It was just, you know, all right, we'll give them an ethics handling and get on with it, you know? So that really blurs the line of mentality. Your mental state is completely twisted and adjusted purposely, like a shoe is a cement shoe was formed on a foot and then the foot keeps growing. The foot is going to keep growing in some way, but it's going to grow in that, right. Yeah. So yeah.
The fish tank, right? The fish is going to grow to the size of its tank.
Yeah. So it was a bunch of chunks of leaving. You don't just, I've never seen it where somebody's just like, okay, I'm done. I'm still losing parts of me gladly that I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to think that way anymore. Oh my God. Why? For so long did I think that was normal? Yeah.
But we have an all-star, you brought an all-star crew in the audience here tonight. So Serge here.
I just saw that. Serge Del Mar, I've been out 9 years.
And by the way, I wasn't really trying. Marcus
Person out 34.
Nice. I wasn't trying to push on anybody that nobody's been out recently. What I really was trying to get to, it's the idea that there needs to be a concurrency and somebody who's going to report. We need somebody coming out and able or capable to report. And I know Reese has talked about the children in the school. She was Kansas City, I believe, right? So hopefully we can get enough, hey, it's happening right now, so that the authorities can pierce that religious veil and go into an organization to rescue somebody, you know, in these situations.
I just think that Scientology has enough loopholes that they've learned legally to fight around if it's just one person trying to leave and they're an adult now.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, we can't help you. Even if that adult was a minor when they started. That is the fucked up loophole, is that they will hide people in the tunnels that they're rebuilding and restructuring so that the execs and the celebrities and the minors and the underage kids that they don't want the outside world to see are walking through the tunnel, so that by the time they are old enough and it doesn't look LPR, then they can be up on the top walking with their briefcases in the AOLA and all that. Like, you know, like, so the tunnels, yeah, it's a funny conspiracy. No, it's okay. Call them tunnels, call them pathways, whatever they are. They're hiding public, celebrities, and minors so that the outside world doesn't legally see them and charge them for their illegal behavior.
When early on in the channel, I know a guy
they did it at Gold Base. Sorry, they did it at Gold Base so that they wouldn't, so that the freaking cars zooming by on that main road. Wouldn't wonder why there was shitloads of Sea Org members in these uniforms every day, all the time,
Right.
even during religious holidays and everything, just always doing it. It was so out PR. It made too many questions for people to question. Why are there all these gold, these staff members, whatever, these members of Scientology and the Sea Org at the Golden Era Productions base in the middle of Hemet, having on all hours of the day staff hustling back and forth? So then they built an underground tunnel that went under the bridge, under the road, so that RTC and everybody could zip on by with their scooters and their everything and whatevers and walk, and nobody could, picketers, as they would call them, or protesters, wouldn't be taking pictures or filming them or whatever. So, so that the Sea Org members don't see the picketers and the protesters.
Correct. Yeah, that's the other one, is that we need to be hidden from the
From them.
people inside, because we don't. You don't want a Scientologist staff member thinking, "Hey, what is he doing out there?" or "Why is that guy out there?" or "Why don't they like us?" Whatever that process is.
Yeah, and we talk about the vans and the shuttling. Sorry, yeah. Why is that? But this is the thing. They stopped using these silver vans. The silver vans in LA. They have stopped using those vans. Okay, guys, that is a major. You see people the only people we're keeping track of really now is the people going in and out of the parking lot with their cars, right? The public and into the garage. But mainly it's people walking from AOLA into the garage back and forth with their briefcases of the OT material. There was like literally, I couldn't even, Scott, DOA literally was filming them and still might be because he's a maniac. Was filming 24-hour stream. He has filmed them all, and you could see, he was like, there's way more people walking back. And I said, it's because people are going in session, getting sessionable on that quick mattress that's on the floor in the blue. Like, they just stack them in there like little, like, cattle. Do your things. If you're not sessionable, go eat and come back, take a nap. You're just a body. You're dealing with the body, like body. So how psychotic that is to have these people. So you have people like myself going, hey, you can stop auditing those body thetans anytime now. To hear things that are specifically during protesting for those specific things is super important. That's another thing. Anyways, okay, getting thrown off.
One I want to go back to, Dave Knoll. I know him. He's actually from the gambling community, and I did an interview with him. When he was 20, he came out of the military, and he got stuck in Hollywood, and he got sucked into Scientology, and he was on. What are the computer tech guys? So income.
I was like, intercom.
And he would tell the story that when the police would come, because every once in a while there'd be a call, and the Scientologists said, "Oh, there's nothing here to see," and they had keypads on all the doors. And what they would do is that he was told, "Go ahead and unlock the keypad, but there's somebody behind there with their foot up against the door, so it still won't open." So it was a regiment element to hide from the ability for the authorities to come in, or for anybody to come in and do a search in those situations. So it's in no way surprising. And he told, when he told that story, it was an unsolicited story. He just said, "Oh, I just remembered something that used to happen all the time. Whenever the police would come, they would say, okay, you let them into door level 3, but don't let them get any further than that."
No, they definitely would. They wouldn't allow you up to the 3rd floor at the WB in Clearwater, where all the lawyers and all the top execs, or the top execs, not even the con artist Debbie Cook was allowed up on that 3rd floor. But all the people, the lawyers for the Lisa McPherson case, they were all up there. Oh, you had to have like security programmed cards. Yep. And there were certain levels of security. There's security of CMO that's not allowed, like security guards of CMO, or the security, like the level. So there's no there's no security of CMO, like the Commodore's messenger org, but the security guards like Odo and they are responsible for securing the environment of, not inside, not internally at the higher level of, it's all ooga booga bullshit, but internally the high RTC and all them, they're higher up. So security doesn't have authority to go have video cameras seeing inside higher levels, but outside around the buildings and everything, they can tell if a Sea Org member is walking off to go to McDonald's or whatever. They can be like, and they'll page you like, where are you going or whatever it is. They're watching your every move. They are watching your every move. So they damn right know, as Serge was reminding everybody earlier today, that I'm shredding documents at 15, 14 years old about the Lisa McPherson case. It was absolute. It was all, and it was more than just that. It was like messages, like orders from David Miscavige, everything. These are legal in the outside world. This is legal, legitimate information that people would have wanted, that said like, Mr. Miscavige, what do you want us to do about this issue with Lisa McPherson covered in cockroaches? And they said that it was a heart attack. But what were this? They're showing, neglect, that she had cockroach bites all over her, and that she had like, there's so much horrible evidence that was undeniably undescribable to say that Scientology was taking care of this individual. And they were. It was under the care of Scientology, under David Miscavige's direct orders. I'm going to do a whole nother thing later with talking about the Lisa McPherson case, talking about the celebrities of Scientology and my experience with them. And just what I saw and things like that, and papers I was shredding and things like that. But the fact that Kendrick Moxon and the fact that David Miscavige and Mike Rinder and all these executives know what I am doing.
Right.
They know what I was doing. They knew, here's somebody we can trust because she doesn't even know what the fuck she's shredding. She has no idea about the outside laws. So here's somebody we can actually trust. And they and she looks up to us. So she's going to do it right. She's not going to fuck up. Okay, I'm going on a roll. I forgot where that was, but I'm
By the way, I love when I didn't say something earlier. You're one of the most passionate people that I know as well. That like if I needed somebody to defend me, you're the one that I want there, kind of ripping the eyeballs out of whoever's on the other side of the wall.
Heck yeah. I'm going to break it down into the detail. And I'll say, what is your intention of attacking somebody who's actually a good person? Right. Just say, if they did something wrong, why the fuck would you do it like this?
Yeah.
If you're a good person, why would you treat another human being that you want to be better in their behavior or their skill or whatever the fuck? Why would you do it like this? Why would you treat somebody so abusively and belittle them so bad that they think this is the proper way now to treat my future kids and everybody around me? And you wonder why the generational issue today, you see P. Diddy getting put in court and Jay-Z and everybody. Yes, because that is the industry. This is the industry that I was so much rejecting to be a part of, but was told by Scientology, if you leave, you're only going to be good if you get famous and be famous for Scientology.
Right.
And here I'm going, just like they wanted everybody else to do. That was sex trafficked by Diddy, or was molested by fucking the Weinstein, whatever it is, right? So it's like, who wants to protect these people anymore? Why are you protecting Tom Cruise? Because he's a good actor? Barf. He's not even a great actor. If you can't do more than one skill in acting, you're not a great actor. Why can't Tom Cruise play the fucking Joker or some drunk or some gay fuck? Why can't he do that? Because it's against his beliefs. He can't do it because of Scientology.
He's a
pedophile.
There's a movie.
He's a molester. He is a pervert. Allegedly.
He was in one of the first movies with Kim, the wife, was Far and Away.
No.
Cruise.
One of my favorite movies, honestly, and I hate that Tom Cruise now in my mind is in it, but I think their connection and that whole movie was one of my favorite movies. And I had watched it as a child, obviously, because I was allowed to, but it was like, Far and Away, you'll watch when you're an older Sea Org member. But I love that. Nicole Kidman, not Kim.
Thank you.
But Kidman, yeah.
That was what I stuck on.
I was like, he's stuck on.
That I like the movie. I like the story. I like the history and its American history and all that. If you notice, he starts out trying to have an Irish accent and he just sucks at it so much that they finally just say, okay, we're not doing that anymore. So like halfway through the movie, they just go to straight English. Right?
Do
Because,
you know that actually happened?
well,
Did you read
watching the
about it, or
movie,
how did you know that?
just
Or you
watching
just
the
could see it?
movie, you can see it in the movie. So in the movie, he starts out with a very
I was gonna say
Irish
maybe they made
accent,
it like he was pretending so that he could get through, and then he was like, "Ah, look, I'm an American."
possibly. Do you have a lot more faith in his acting than I do? And again, he's an action
No,
star,
I
right?
definitely do not. No, no, no.
I'm being somewhat sarcastic.
No, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Ugh, I don't want to talk about Tom Cruise
no.
anymore unless it's like
But
exposing his
you would
disgustingness.
and Serge gets on this as well, right? So I've said this, that when I see a child go in there, at first I was like, oh, big deal. But the problem is that the parents are gonna groom that child, and groom is the best way to say it. They're going to be
When
groomed
you
into the
when you
organization.
say when you see a child going in there,
Yes.
that child is already groomed.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
That child would be having a tantrum like, "No, I don't want to go in, mom." That would be a normal behavior if a child understood, like, I'm allowed to not have to go in here and do this for my life. Is this just for my mother and she's forcing me to go in here because she's divorced from the SP dad? Like, is it, do I have a child chance and choice to not be a part of this? No, they're already having to be a part. They've already been groomed to be a part of it. For them walking in at 2 years old, their mother was going, "Oh no, did you get hurt? Touch it back. Let's do a touch assist." Okay. They're already doing that. So they don't even separate Scientology and real life. They're just going, this is how my life should be. So they don't know that they can have a tantrum outside a building saying, "I don't want to go in that building." They're going, okay, I'm going to go in the building and I'm going to go get nannied by the Sea Org member who's really fun, who plays with my hair when she's supposed to be on, her post doing sales. But that's how she's going to get her mom to buy this thing to go in session so she'll watch the kid. Anything to get the stats up.
That is noticeable. One of the things that I do notice is when there are younger kids, so the single digit age kids walk in, there's a very young, attractive staff member at the org, and she gets down on knees and hugs, and you can tell that these children are excited to see her. She's excited, and I don't know if it's pretend or not, but that's these kids are, oh boy, I get to go see so and so at the org again. Right?
I'm going to interrupt you right there. Pretend or not, somebody who doesn't even own their own emotions can't pretend.
Good point.
What they're giving to you is what they feel. That it's like, it's so even if they were pretending, I have to say, a Sea Org member giving a child a hug or something like that is probably the most freedom, the most actual connection of a human being that has nothing to do with the Sea Org, or you better be at the next muster, yes sir, whatever. Like, they're going, oh, it's almost like disgusting. You're using the natural love of a child, and soon you're going, come do the communication course. Look at our love and our connection. I'm going to help you as your nanny. I'm your babysitter while your mom's in session. And then that person who says that has already indoctrinated and groomed. They're the next auditor for that child. They're the one saying, oh, see, we get along so well. Now I'm going to have your mom pay for your sessions for me. So they get the auditors regging the person that's like, oh, if I'm auditing your mom, got to get the child too. Got to get the husband, got to get the brother, got to get the aunt, Priscilla Presley, Lisa, Riley, the whole family. Elvis hated Scientology. Elvis didn't want to be a part of Scientology. Anyways.
Oh.
Serge always nailing it. Like, I can't wait. I hope Serge will do a live stream with me soon about the celebrities and shit of Scientology and our experiences individually with them.
I'm stacking up a bunch of children entering that org so that he and I can do a little live on that.
How are you gonna say, like, slow? What is it like? Rewind the tapes and speed them up in slow motion. Just because you see one child going by every 2 hours, and that seems like, look, one kid, speed it up and times that by 24 hours a day and 365 days a year.
Yeah.
That is already 100 or so children, get more, thousands of children that are being, people wonder, how do they do it? How do they do it? How, like, we need evidence. We're fucking telling you guys. It happened to
Here's
us.
another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Right.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Serge said, yes, please. Good. I can't wait.
What
That'll be
what
an
I-
intense one.
What I really hate is the idea that there's doing a live is low touch, right? We're just having a great conversation, and I love that. When I
Right.
have to go back and research the tapes and do all the clipping, it's like, wow, this is an awful lot of work to get all of this
Yeah.
stuff together for that. I have started tagging all of it so that I can search for that stuff much easier because, the earlier Serge had talked about how hiding is downtone or downscale, and that was one of the first things that I remember
Hiding
learning. Right?
minus 0.31. I'm
Yes.
just kidding. Serge is going to laugh because of it. The voice on the film for the tone scale film that they produced at Golden Era Productions. Body death minus 0.0. Anger minus. It sounded like the DMV voice, like no
Right.
joke. It's like, oh my God. And then they would recite the vowels. They would take. So they had like Jim Meskimen and all these dumb little Scientology under fucking not so big actors in these films.
Right.
And they would take the vowels, A-E-I-O-U, and they would do all of the tone scales. They're like, if you break down the tone scales, there's, I guess, 100 tone levels, like
Right.
from 50 or from 3.0, like the most amazing, exhilarated, enthusiastic, you're the best spirit in the whole world, you're so happy nothing can stop you, to you're below body death, you're like worse than like a dead person. There's even like all the way down minus 50 or minus 30. Anyways, so at Golden Era Productions, they made this whole dumb, gross, disgusting pedophile. This is literally the same time they were making the films with Danny Masterson and how to use a doll drill and how to set up a session. And he was fucking literally raping, molesting, having sexual encounters with a minor. Isn't that rape or is it not?
It is.
Is it called rape if you have sexual encounters with a minor?
100%.
No matter what it is, right? And it doesn't matter if you were
It
only
can't be consensual.
19 and they were 16 or 15,
Yeah.
it's still not okay.
It can't be consent.
As
right,
an
because you have too
18-year-old
much
boy,
authority.
you know that if a law says you don't do this, you don't do it.
Right.
Like you have the ability to hold that information. And especially as a man who probably that age understands like, oh yeah, my ding dong wants to go everywhere. Like then you need to have this capability of emotional intelligence. And if you don't have that, then you have an issue at a certain point. If you're 40 years old and you're drugging women and shit to like, no, you got a mental issue. There's a mental problem. You have an immature issue that you have not like experienced and dealt with, and you've been able to get away with this shit for so long that you actually think it's normal. You're lying to yourself. See, yeah, statutory rape.
And that, so what I was saying earlier, the idea that they're grooming those children, and again, or the children have already been groomed, and we were also talking about P. Diddy and all of the fiascos that are going on right now. Epstein, right? To listen to some of those stories about Epstein, the idea that by the time the actual actor who's going to do something wrong, the person that's the victim feels like this is normal, right? Isn't
And
this
that is
what's
their
supposed
fault.
to happen?
They came
Right.
into this
Yeah.
and they should have known what they were getting into.
It
Do you
feels like
understand
what-
that? Or not you? I know you do. Chat. You guys realize the deepest, simplest connection between P. Diddy and Scientology and all this is at a certain point, that person was manipulated unknowingly. They did not know that at this point they could have said yes or no, and you had led them when they did not have consent. They didn't even know what they could consent to. I get really heated on this. It's like, you can say this or this, oh, you were smart or you could have known. But at a certain point, it's like, if you are a 12-year-old in a cult that you didn't even have the shitty life of being outside in a really horrible situation, at least you would have known you would have had reflections on other families. You would have seen rich families, poor families. The judge said that, like, you would have learned about the laws. Somebody's going to jail. You would have known about police officers, security, safety. You would have known about this. Psychological, like psychiatry. You would have known, okay, I don't want to be a part of psychiatry, but There's no explanation. It's just the way it is. What L. Ron Hubbard says is just the way it is. So growing up in just that, we are fucking lucky to be the people we are. I am honored to be the happy person and joyful person that people think I am all the time. I try to be that good person all the time. I fuck up a few times. Duh. Are you act like duh?
Humanity. That's humanity.
Every time I mess up, I'm like, okay, I'll fix this, but great, I'm doing good. This isn't that bad, you know? I'm like, I'm surprised I'm not a I said this at the Viper Room at my show. I'm surprised I'm not a psychotic, insane, like crazy, like insane person who's unalive. Like, I can't believe I'm still here. And because I'm here, I've always the very thin thread that I always walked on with the only knowledge I had was to continue to be myself. I feel love. I want people to be happy around me. I want them to enjoy life. I love creation. I love laughing. I love that inside joke. Like any freedom pockets that I could get while even being in the Sea Org of Scientology, this is what we're like scraping. So now I'm out here in this world. We're out in this world. We're learning like, holy shit, the whole industry is gross. So what were we trying to strive? Okay, we got out of Scientology. Now I'm going to go work on my art and become this successful person. What does that mean? You're going to go be successful to the world or for yourself? Yeah. You're going to feel strong for yourself because you didn't go to that P. Diddy party, thought was going to be amazing, and then saw all the shit going on and be like, I'm out. This is disgusting.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. How many people walked into some of those experiences and like were shocked by what was going on, but it's like, but it's P. Diddy, I can't go, right? I mean,
well, same thing with underground. We would go to this place called the Overpass. Let's talk about that in LA, this underground overpass that would be open all the time. I had a lot of fun there, but there was so much drugging, sexual assaults, like people being beat up, so much illegal crap going on there. But it seemed like, oh, this is the party life, you know? This is, and here I never done coke. I've never done coke. And here this was the norm. And I just thought, oh yeah, everybody just assumes I'm a cokehead because I have so much energy, and I would be up with the cokeheads. Like, I just had this energy of learning the world and feeling strong in myself. And it didn't matter if I was this wild party girl, rocker, singer. I didn't care. I was developing even for myself what I thought about myself along with everybody else. So come join the party. I'm trying to figure out my own shit. So, but anyways, any club or place I went to, there was always sexual assaults happening. I just thought it was normal because of Scientology changing the word rape into out 2D or sexual assaults. They would never use outside terminology in the folders, even in an auditing session. They would never say the word. They would just say in detail, what did he do? What did they do? Where did it go? What in detail? They would never say what the whole thing was. Okay. So there's some major out ethics on the out 2D, on the second dynamic. They wouldn't say what it was because they would just cover it up and saying, oh, well, he paid for the auditing session and we're a religion. So guess what? It's confidential, pre-penitent information. Where's the line of like, this guy's an insane criminal and you literally can now launder money through auditings and let people not be in jail. Just the same way that other people go to jail that have gone to jail for worse things or less worse things than the people that are in Scientology getting away with during auditing because they pay money.
Correct. Yeah.
Of course it's going to make them feel good when they come out of that session and they're told, good job, your needle's floating. You're fine. You can breathe again. All that weight's off your shoulder.
Yep.
They're saying you don't need God. That's all made up. That's all just a made up thing that our spirits have made up through lifetimes. You're your own being. You can do so. You could have been a murderer and a rapist through all these different lifetimes. So this is your only lifetime to free it up. So in the same time, they're saying, look, we can deal with anything and confront your most evil things and get rid of it. We can also do that in this lifetime. So if you're doing it in this lifetime, it's because you've been doing it for so many lifetimes. So we understand that you're doing it now. It makes sense. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to audit it off. In fact, eventually you're going to audit it off and you're going to walk around AOLA with a fucking suitcase with these information so that handcuffed, that's where this is all going. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we're seeing. You people out here walking across the streets with fake BS like covering up crime information in their
Right.
suitcases and all their information. And because they're hiding behind a religion, they're allowed to get away with this legally. That is what is happening. That is literally what is happening in Los Angeles. That is what's happening across every state in the United States where there is a Scientology organization. That is what's happening. They're under the umbrella of this. That's me and Serge, and we're all in court. We were just in court for the Gavin Potter and Jane Doe case. Like, we see what's happening. They don't want to be in court. They're trying to get it thrown out. They're trying to go back to arbitration. Okay, I'm going on a roll. Sorry.
No, but it's an important role. That is one of those things that, like, Scientology doesn't win, and in situations where, let's say, they get to claim the win, it's because they've figured out a technicality to get something kicked, right? That's what they're trying to do, is stop the case, not win the case, because they realize they can't win the case.
They just have to not even bring it to that issue. They're just like using every other loophole to not even get the case in court, to not be talked. They're trying to continue. They will continue to throw out the case. Every move they do is to throw out the case or to get the person convicted that is trying to get Scientology exposed.
Right. It's very disgusting and demoralizing to me to know what's ahead for these kids that I see in that go into that building. There's a certain member, and I hate it because on Saturdays he shows up on Saturdays all the time, and he drops his daughter off, and he was there again this past weekend, and he doesn't even take them into an adult. It's that he opens the door, pushes her in, and my expectation is her mom is probably a member in there as well. But it's like, that child doesn't have a chance. Unless something miraculous happens, that kid is stuck, right? And in this scenario, I don't really feel as bad as if, that a 25-year-old gets sucked into Scientology. He made a bad choice, right, in that situation. Now, I still think everybody that's in that building is a victim, but the child didn't even have a choice at any point. At no point in their life did they have a choice, and their life was normalized. When we had the chat that I had last Saturday when I was walking home, and you and I were talking quite a bit on the chat, that idea that they will not have a normal life. They're not going to. They're not going to have a first date. They're not going to prom. They're not, just the things that were so normal to me. That was robbed from you, right? You didn't get to do that, and they're not going to get to do that, right?
Yeah, and it's on many levels. Scientology interrupts even, like, as a child, if you want to have, like, I don't know, certain foods or a certain, style or the way you like something or a perfume or whatever. Like, they're making you judge yourself constantly. Like, why do I like that? Is that out of valence? Am I trying to be like somebody else? Am I not, like, you can't even fucking enjoy your own life. You're in your daily movements. Like, you're brushing your teeth. Oh, good. Yeah. I'm really following the way to happiness. Take care of yourself.
Right.
Can't even just enjoy your teeth because you're like, oh, I'm so excited to brush my teeth.
You would, a little while ago, you had said, right, the idea that the person that you've become in spite of Scientology, and that I'm impressed by many of the people that we see on YouTube as former Scientologists who have made a life for themselves. Many of them made a very productive life for themselves, which is awesome and amazing. What about all those ones that we don't hear about? I mean, other people have left Scientology and we don't know about them. Are they still suffering? Because let's hear. You're probably still being deprogrammed from Scientology, right? There are elements of your life on a daily basis, like, damn it, I'm being a Scientologist right now, right? Or you don't even know that you're doing it, right? It's just that it's second nature.
Or I'll see something in a loving, fun way, and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to think of that in a whole different way before. Like, I could see the new view that I have, and I can remember how I used to view that, which is very interesting. Like, when you're an Aquarian like myself and you're very stubborn and You know, like in my way, it was very weird to know that I stubbornly believed this one thing at a certain time, and then now I totally stubbornly believe it completely different. You know?
Are, I had this question, or I made a statement on the live the other day. I don't really ever hear, and I know that Reese has recently said some things about it. I don't really ever hear a Scientologist looking back, a former Scientologist looking back fondly on too much of what occurred in their life, right? Like, oh, the days
Yeah.
of.
Oh
you know,
yeah, no. It's more like, oh, remember when we did that because we were in so much control and suffering? Remember the things we got away with, which
the
is not
rebellion.
exciting out here, but it was like, oh yeah, dumb shit, just stupid stuff.
Yeah, and I think that
And though memories, right? Those are the memories that make me want to go save, all
absolutely.
Kalinda and Sarah and Gayla and Vanessa and everybody that was in there. I'm going like, well, if we had that connection then I can get them out. If we had the connection, I have kids, they knew how I was. Now I'm still this same person, but I mean more like now I'm out here. They can be their type of person out here. Even I just always have that little hope for them. And
Yeah.
I feel like because we missed out on that chunk of being a child in so many ways, I think that because when you lose something like that, there is a slight more chance of, okay, maybe when I turn 40, if I still think I'm a loser in this, I'm either going to kill myself or I'm going to leave the Sea Org and I'm going to go see what this other world is about.
Yeah. Surges, this is kind of hitting on that idea that
Yeah, literally. So
who are the
many in
people that we
depression.
don't know, right? Who are the
Yeah.
ones that we didn't hear about, and it's because they got lost, right? And tragically lost in certain situations.
Lost
I
in
make this statement.
translation.
Yeah.
That's what I just thought of. Lost in translation, literally taking normal American language and translating it to something else.
Something that I'll say on the streets a lot, that Serge is very vocal about what he went through. You're vocal about what you went through. But I still say, that people, oh, Serge is a highlighted person. This is in no way a knock against Serge, but the idea that Serge is the one we heard about. There had to have been 1,000 other, 100,000 others that went through exactly what Serge went through, and they either didn't make it out, or
Oh yeah.
ashamed, or whatever that case is. And I think that people don't understand that this. I'm so grateful that Serge stands up and says this, but people think that he's the only one, and it's like, no, he can't be the only one, right?
No. And what's fucked up is they're actually taking Serge's example now and going, oh, this is where we messed up with him. We didn't put him in the RPF long enough. He either should have unalived himself, or that's the messed up thing. Is they're now getting stronger to it. Not really, but I'm saying, like, if they learned anything from Serge, it was like, where did we mess up? We gave him too much knowledge. Like we didn't, like whatever it was, they're doing this to kids now and doing it even like mentally putting them in a situation where they're doing this horrible stuff to themselves, or they're being told, oh, this is normal. This is normal. And if we are being out ethics or whatever, we'll just handle the ARC break in session. Good a sec check. In a chaplain cycle. How about in arbitration? That's literally what it goes down to.
By the way, every single one of those things, those processes you just said, there's a cash register behind it too, right?
Oh yeah, no, ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
100, like no joking, there really is. There really is.
Yeah, that's the I always
God,
think
I
that's
like
hilarious.
you just said that, and Serge will laugh. I totally went back to the Fort Harrison Hotel where they were like the canteen, like ching ding ding, like, and how much it, like, still using these old fashioned freaking cashier boxes, ching ching, like whatever, and it would just be like people taking a break from their session, going down, getting their protein bars and protein drinks and emergencies and their supplements and vitamins, and going back in session.
That's a question I have. Inside of the Scientology in Chicago, there's it looks like a Starbucks almost, a little cafeteria in there. Nothing's free, right? Like you're not getting a cup of coffee. Is coffee free?
No, the Starbucks is, if there's a Starbucks
Oh,
in there,
it's not an actual Starbucks, but it's
oh.
it's set up like, like if it's got a counter that there's a
Sea
you can
Org
see there's a
members are
coffee
too
machine.
busy to like be
Okay.
like picky or choosing about what they like coffee. No. It's
Okay.
like go to Starbucks, spend a part of your $47 on a $7 expensive coffee cappuccino, and you're gonna enjoy that. You're gonna be licking that cup out, before you even get off the bus, because you finish it before you go back on course. You're fired up for course and like, oh my TRs are so good, and look at me, I'm so sessionable.
So there's no when we were at St. Paul, so for the when I went to St. Paul org, you could see on top you had a high view of what was going on inside the org. And when they came in, I did see them pouring themselves coffee, and it surprised me because I would have always felt that, don't you have to put a quarter in a slot somewhere in order for you to get a cup of coffee there? Like, I can't imagine you get something for free at Scientology.
Oh, no. They will do coffee for free.
Okay.
Yep. They give you coffee because coffee keeps you going.
Right.
And also, but not the nice coffee. It's
Right.
just whatever they probably have a pot of coffee and that's the excitement. It's like these little things like, ooh, I get free coffee right here. It's my secret thing. Like, that's their excitement. That's their like, ooh, I got to go golfing on the weekend. It's the equivalent. Like, ooh, Sunday I'm going golfing. Ooh, I'm going to go in and get my fresh cup of coffee every morning. I'm so excited. Let me tuck in my shirt, make sure my belt's nice. Ooh, look, I look so clean. I got my coffee.
So this, I know that I don't think they get cigarettes
No.
for free, but I would say this, that if L. Ron Hubbard wasn't a writer, he should have just invested in Marlboro with how much he gets these Scientologists.
Cools.
Yeah. Cools. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was Cools, not Marvelous.
That is the one thing that I don't like, being a dick to the people that are out there, but it's so fun when they're out and back smoking. And I know that, to your point, it's I get a moment to myself. I just want to enjoy this cigarette.
Yeah.
And if I walk up there, all I have to do is say, hi, can you tell me anything about Scientology? And then it's snuff the cigarette, put it in your pocket, walk in.
Well,
This
fucker just ruined my cigarette. Just ruined my freedom. Yeah.
And again, I'm not there I don't want their lives to be hard, but I want them to realize that because of their choices, stupid things like this are disappointing to you, right?
Right. Like, so I come in, I'm like, hey, sir, just want to let you know I was in the Sea Org too. I kind of come in like that. And I'm like, look at you putting out the cigarette. Come on. Communication is a universal solvent. Isn't that ridiculous? You're trying to get a break, just have a smoke, and you have to put out your cigarette. Like, I say things like,
Yep.
Something like, maybe I'll never see that guy again because he'll never go out there because he's like, but he'll never stop thinking about what I said. And so I don't know.
And I
like to do that thing. I like to do that thing where I'm like, ooh, if I would have heard that when I was in the Sea Org, or if those smokers in the Sea Org would have heard that, like, ooh, that's a good one. Like, so,
what would have got me out sooner?
Yeah. Or like, what would have got me to start thinking faster? Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
There have been times where it's like, wouldn't it be, if you just left, you could enjoy that cigarette, right? All you have to do is leave Scientology. You can enjoy that cigarette.
Is literally how you know somebody is so mentally abused, like they're mentally not even thinking for themselves. And what is Scientology's one of their biggest things that they use? Is think for yourself. Right. Think for yourself. That's one of their big billboards. Think for yourself. Scientology. Come in, don't hear. Are you curious? Don't hear it for yourself. Come in and think for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like so gross.
I remember asking, so there's two Chadwicks at Chicago, the one that Boopgate, and then there's another one. And he did answer the question once. No, he answered this question. I said, does Scientology let you think for yourself? And he looked at me and goes, of course we can. And I was dumbfounded that I actually got I would say that's a legitimate answer, right? I mean,
okay.
That's a legitimate answer.
Uh-huh. So what was your next move? Were you ready for that answer?
What I said. So what do you think about? What can you think about? Right. And then it was he kicked the doors are propped open by wedges. He kicked the wedges out and it's like, I've got to go in. Right. I've got to go in. So
Ooh, another thing you could say, you know, and then you could say, well, what's true for you then? Same thing. Like, oh,
That I
really?
love
You
is
do
right.
think for yourself? So what's true for you?
Yep.
Like, if you could think for yourself, then what is true for you? Because are they going to respond with a Scientology thing? Because then they can't separate themselves and Scientology. And that's actually the argument I had with my dad on the film that we were you know, that clip where my dad was trying to, you know, would get offended. He was like, oh, he said, that vile. What you just said is vile. And I said, Dad, I just want you to be a dad to me and not a Sea Org member. And he thought that was vile that I said that.
Yeah. That's
What if somebody said dad to a scientist? I just want you to be my dad and not a scientist. The scientist wouldn't be like, what? They'd be like, I understand what you mean. I mean, I'm going to be your dad and a scientist, but I think you're asking for dad to spend more time with you. Like, duh. Like, why does a fucking young child have to explain this to you, dad? You're clearly fucked up. And if you're not going to get it, then I'm going to shout it from the streets.
and
so that everybody else can get out, and maybe if the group gets out, then you'll leave or whatever. It's not even just about my dad, it's about everybody. It's like, well, then you're all gonna hear this because you're all trapped and you're all fucked.
Agreed.
And you're fucking other people who have not even been able to begin their lives.
That's the one that what
like
is it?
You're continuing a cancer. You're not even allowing somebody to just go in when they're 30 or whatever and like, okay, I really love this. Ooga booga, hold the cans and look, your energy is really moving the needle. Like, fine, like whatever. But like when you purposely manipulate people's families and make sure that their celebrity children and stuff are already doing courses at ages so that you have your claws long in their spine.
Right.
By the time they're 16 and 17 and they just feel like they have to do whatever their stepmom says or whatever it is because they just have to do it. But really they're living a whole nother life. You're living a whole nother life and you can't even say that your childhood was so effed up and controlled. You're still being controlled. You're still being, the fangs are still in. You have not clipped them.
Right.
Like they're always going to be there and a part of you because, you know, I'm going to learn and know things that the people in the world, the whole world knows things that I don't know. I know things that the world doesn't know or, you know, other people in the world. Yeah. So it's just like, I've had experience. That's great. That's life. That's normal. More humans should be doing that. We shouldn't be so grouped up and so normalized. We should really be enjoying and like emphasized on life and like wondering why it's so fun to just sit there and crochet, or it's so fun to smoke a joint and really enjoy and to kick off the shoes and hear the water and go hiking and whatever it is. Like, we need to have more of that. And a lot of us feel guilty, like, oh, you've been laying around all day, you've been doing it, you need it. What are you talking about? Life is about that.
Correct.
It's about that.
When we talk about these foreign, this idea that it's so foreign, that idea that what did you do for joy and why would I do something for joy? I feel is the comment that
yeah, like that would make me out exchange. If I didn't do something that deserved me joy, then I'm out exchange. So don't give me joy for free.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Out exchange. And it still carries into some of my friends. I give them things and they're like, well, what can I do? Like, I'm like, nothing. I love you. Go live your life. Hopefully that makes you feel better for the next 6 months. Stop. I want you to know that weird people like me do this and that it's normal and it's loving. Like, yeah.
One day, one of the body routers gave me flyers. They normally, again, they won't talk to me and anything. And I have no desire really to talk to them. I'm always talking to the ones that they hand the flyer off to. But she handed me the flyer and I handed her my card and I said, but we need an exchange, don't we?
Oh, yeah. And what did she say?
She did not take my card. She goes, I don't need that.
You were like, well, that's out fourth exchange.
Okay. Now I need,
where you overly, you're like, anyways, yeah, fourth something. I don't even want to remember.
Some of the things that are so bizarre that when Scientologists talk about this is the idea that like I would have arguments with my parents and everything like that. But if you came at me, my mom was a mama bear and my dad was a daddy bear, right? And the idea that I'm going to
Right.
defend, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that my child is doing well and all of that. And I feel that in Scientology, well, you're oftentimes separated, so there's no chance that you could have that kind of mama bear type protection. And then the other side is that all they care about is, did you go up the bridge? Did you finish your course? Did you keep Scientology working today?
Are your
Right?
stats up? And as a cadet, it was your stats were your post stats and then courses completed, LRH courses completed, and schooling. But I did see, here's a effed up thing. There were so many times where my mom would buy me the fun underwear, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There were so many packages that she did go out of her way to send. Like, I don't want to get emotional at all. I was going to be strong for this. And the more I think about that, the more, obviously it hasn't happened recently. So like, I'm able to be like, well, we can call that manipulation, or we can call that her trying to be sweet and loving and having our connection, even though her own belief system and group and community is telling her, hey, you're not having to need love or having this connection is actually weak. It's actually, you're not, that means you could be pulled by something else other than your mission of being here. And that's actually why they got rid of kids being in the Sea Org. And then what does that cause? Because it's so fucking unnatural. It causes people that are joining the Sea Org, that are in the Sea Org, that do only fall in love in the Sea Org because they only can be in love with the Sea Org, makes them have babies because they're in love, and they are literally aborting babies left, right, and center. Right. Abortions, forced abortions. They're making forced, not meaning like, give me the thing and plunge them out. No, it's meaning I'm going to mentally make you think, oh, you're definitely having this child, all the way to a couple hours later, like in a complete depression of like a real debate of like, okay, oh my God, the right thing to do is really give up this child.
Yeah.
To a mother. That's what Scientology does. So imagine what they're doing to children. Why is it so amazing that a young child auditor who's a class 6 OT4 at 13 or 17 or 8, so amazing. Why does Grant Cardone's daughter say, I'm 123 years old? Like, that's so fucking weird.
Right. Yes.
Like, that is unnatural. You're not acting. You're not an actor. This is just a conversation, and this is how you are. You're trying to impress your dad, thinking you don't care. Look at me. I'm so cool. I'm such a tough kid. That's all she's doing. Trying to please her fucking brainwashed, disgusting father and mother of a fucking example. Like, are you joking? Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone, you have destroyed your daughter. You don't even know your daughter because your daughter doesn't even know herself.
Yeah. Again, just a lot that you always hope that they'll come out of it. They'll wake up. They'll have your life not your life, but that I'm going to change my life in these situations. But there's nothing going to stop her, nothing going to wake her up because she's under the control of her parents, right? That she's loyal to her parents.
And I struggle with the whole like, but I validate it. So I struggle with the whole, well, they're adults now, so they can make their own decisions. But I also I struggle with it so hard. I'm like, yeah, that's true. But also this, but yeah, that's true. But also that, because I'm like, why did my mom my mom had this thing happen to her, right? And then she was in Canada and she meets a kind of a cute guy flirting, right? Ooh, look, we're both saving the world, apparently. Like, look at this new thing I'm learning. And wow, psychology psychiatry's a fraud. Like all these fucking things that people are in the real world, so to speak, are being paid or are paying to go to school to learn and be trained and be certified. And all of a sudden, when you come to Scientology, all those certifications are just fake. And actually, this is the real thing. And all you really need is a chiropractor, David Minkoff. Like, They just, and like, oh, it's just body, and body's a physical thing. So you can just do these things to do physical things to change the body, and everything's mental. So you just need to audit the bodies off of the thetans off the body. And then boom, oh, look at that. The arthritis is, everything's fine. Everything is like, it's fucking insane. Everything about Scientology is insane. Like, if you were to actually follow through on anything that they would say, like, oh, we'll audit out your, arthritis, or audit out your schizophrenia. Okay, that happens a lot.
Yep.
Audit out this, get off your pills, and when you're off your pills, then we can see how you are so that we can get you handled in session. But and we're only caring about you doing this because you have a lot of money. And whether it's this daughter, this young chick that unalived herself, who was OT7, and she had go ahead.
No, that it really is that, what is it? Whitney Mills, Ellie Perkins. Now, Ellie Perkins, I think it was her son that was unstable and in that situation. But just that idea that how do you not believe in what 97% of the rest of the universe believes in regards to that process?
But you're thinking of that as like somebody who has been in the world, right? So for me, if you said that to me, how do you not believe what 90% of the world is? I would go, well, what does 90% of the world believe?
It's 100% of your world believes that, right?
Right. Exactly. And then it all goes down to like even the definition of a team. You're an individual, you're being yourself at the same time. But if you're doing anything that's aberrated or cool or nothing that isn't aligned with Scientology, or if you're not bringing attention to yourself to bring it eventually to Scientology, then you're off purpose and we're going to call you out on it. And if you resent us or try to back up, try to backlash, or backflash is what that's what the Scientology term is. Backflash, don't backflash. If you try to backflash an unnecessary response to an order, then you will get assigned you're going to have to now put your own ethics in, because you did something to an officer, an authority, as somebody, so like, but Scientology, before that, as they're training you in the very basics, right when you come in, you're learning how to communicate, right? Remember, they taught you, hey, anytime you go past a word, if you go past a word, guess what? That means you're going to start committing overts, because when you don't understand something, it all comes from words you don't understand, which is a weird thing. Like, I feel like that kind of makes sense in a weird way if you did clear up, right? That's a psych, right? L. Ron Hubbard's method, though, is stealing what is the common of society and changing lost in translation. He takes, I don't know if I'm using that right, but like, he takes literature and twists it so much that, yes, if you saw it like this and this, it would be like, no, that's not right. But if you heard the thought process almost in the same way you were able to read Dianetics, if you were going into it being like, how could I understand how somebody reading this would get really lost in this?
And it's contortion, right? That he's contorting what the process is. And one of the things that I'll say is that there are zero original thoughts out of L. Ron Hubbard. Everything is usurped and taken from someplace else. And you're right. As students, we learn to look up words that we don't understand, right? Makes perfectly good sense, but not to the extreme of, and we actually use a real Webster's dictionary. So when there are words that we don't like, what you might find the meaning to be, we don't change our dictionary to say grape is good for you, right?
Yeah. Literally, or infinity is it's infinity. How we mean it is the whole world. In fact, the Scientology definition for infinity is similar to what the infinity definition is. So like one of the things coming out of just Scientology, out of the Sea Org, not even Scientology, just coming out of the Sea Org, knowing I was going to have to make up amends to the Sea Org and get back in good standings and all that. Right. But I was so excited to get a tattoo. And right when I left the Sea Org, and I wasn't 18 yet, I was 17, and I was just being a bad influence for the other younger cadets that were Sea Org members in Clearwater, because they saw me on route outlines. They knew what I was doing. You just know. When you're born and raised in the shit, when you're born and raised in jail, you know who the boss is and who's on what just by talking or seeing like, oh, he's part of this. Like you just know. So I just knew like, oh, okay. Oh, they're separating me. They're putting me away from everybody so that I can stop influencing the other young cadets that I grew up with, my friends that love me because I'm spunky and how I am now, just a version of me in the Sea Org and younger, not knowing anything. They still get that energy. They know like, oh, Megan was so fun, like, oh, I wish she wasn't suppressive, like they do like me, whether they like it or not,
I like that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I wish she wasn't.
She wasn't a suppressive. Yeah. She would be so cool if she wasn't a suppressive.
So now whenever I'm in front of Chicago, I'm going to say that same thing. That they all like me so much, they just wish I wasn't a suppressive.
Yes. See, that would be a good, intelligent thing to say. That would be great. Then they would be like, damn, he really knows his stuff.
Let's see here. Can we talk? Let's talk about protesting a little bit.
Okay.
We've talked about it already, but you would already say, I've said this 1,000 times. I have a style. I like my style. I think that it's natural that people that do things the way they do things, they like the way that they're doing it. I don't think it's the only way to do it, and I don't think it's the correct way to do it. I think that the way that I do it is effective. But something that I've always said is, and I always use Pearl Snappy as kind of the counter. Pearl is much more vocal than I am. She's much more aggressive in regards to what's going on. But one of the things that I think is important is that she probably is making contact with somebody. There are people, I think that she's got evidence, or she's had people come to her and say that, hey, I've come out because of this. I do the same. Like when I'm talking on the street, I typically say anything positive about church, because I know that if I say cult, there's no expectation.
Right. You're not going to, right.
And then as soon as they don't answer, then I put the word cult in, because I want the people that are walking by to associate cult and this building. And I think that's one of the things that when you hear somebody being very aggressive in front of that building, you're drawing attention, and it's maybe not the staff member that you're trying to really communicate with. It's the other people that are around, that it's important that they're hearing, wait, did he just say cult?
Yeah.
What is this bill? Oh my gosh, what is this?
Yep. Yeah.
So I wish people wouldn't say that there are right ways and wrong ways to do this. If I could have a Pearl next to me all the time, I think that'd be a good idea, right? The idea that, hey,
me too.
I
at least have a Pearl Snappy to be my mod. I feel honored. Thank you, mods, by the way, Summer Savage and Pearl. And I also wanted to say thank you to Mandy. I went to a thing where I was gonna be like, no mods, I'm done. I want to know the trolls. I want to. And I also want my chat. I want to engage with my chat, where if they say things, I don't want like other people involved in that. So I almost was going to remove everybody. And then I said, calm down, Lara. Slowly just remove them. Don't do it all at once. Just kidding. That's so mean. That's so mean. But anyways,
see you tomorrow, Savage.
No. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
And yes, thanks to the mods, definitely.
Yeah, like the mods are always there, even like when we're protesting out in the buildings. Like when we're there, they're there and they're checking in. And oh my God, if anything happens, like, you know what I mean? Summer, okay, bye.
One of the things, so
don't make me savage you, Summer.
Yes, nice. When we're on a panel, it's easier for us to pay attention to what's going on here. And it's something that I've said in the past, that I rely very much on my mods when I'm on the streets, because if I'm talking to somebody, I'm engaged with them. I can't see what's going on in chat.
And how perfect is it if somebody has a question, they're already linking. It could be even in the conversation you're having with the person, and they're going, oh, could you, you know what I mean? So it's great for a mod to go click, bring that or hold it, and it's perfect. But not when they are getting mad because somebody makes a comment and they delete it or they ban them or whatever. And when you're not looking, you don't see that, and you'd only have to see that to go back into your studio to see like, wait, what happened? What? No, I'm okay with that. I'm used to that. You know what I mean? Like it takes away the personality. So I literally almost fired everybody. Just kidding. But anyways, no, I'm not kidding. But no, I want people to be transparent. I want to be transparent. I never want there to be a block or an issue. If you're going to come hard and weird and not in a way for somebody to be able to come back and talk to you, then that you're not coming in a transparent way. Like
Yep.
you're already coming in wrong, and you need to be aware of that. So many people do that. And it's just like, if you're going to come in like that, I don't even care about the conversation. Don't even try to fix it. Literally.
Yeah. And we should realize that, you know, let's say it is 200 channels. I don't care what that number is, but there's a lot of people. We're not 200 like people, right? We definitely have different ideas. We have friends. Cliques exist in groups. It's natural for groups to have dissension or differing opinions
Yeah.
in that. Now,
I
I
think
would much rather we
society is
talk
getting
through
used
them.
to that.
Yeah.
People need to get used to that. Even politically, there's a lot that could go right with politics and stuff, but so much goes wrong because people are already fucking decided. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, then why have the game? Why have the political thing? Why even do it? If the whole purpose is to say, hey, I agree with this and this, so we can be very clear about it, and this is my side and whatever. The whole purpose is so that you could go, okay, where can we work out where it's fair for everybody and we could all understand. And it just seems like, things can work. The justice system could work if you do it correctly. If you say, no, the law says this. The political system will work if you follow the rules. If you vote and you don't scam a system, if you don't try, you know what I mean? Like, then let's do that. Like, otherwise, if you have other intentions, like to have a business do better, and that should be fraud. That should be like, if you're
Correct.
trying to sway your way to get your business to have a better, outcome, that should be illegal. And that's not. It should be like, well, then where's the value of the voter?
Correct.
Let's bring
That
the
was-
value of the voter. Let's bring it back to the people. If we built the court system, if we are the ones that say we the people, then we better step up and say, wait, that's my choice. That's my decision.
Yeah.
And own it. And then we tell those people, you don't have the right to tell me I can't yell out here. It's my American First Amendment right. You cannot, you can be annoyed. You could be like, that bitch, oh my God, I'm leaving. Good. Do that. But so, yeah, I feel it's, and believe it or not, it's very satisfying having the law being hidden from you your whole life. As a child, it is absolutely satisfying being like, I will scream and say and do whatever I want in this moment in time, because you know that I'm protesting Scientology. So I have every right to feel and do whatever I want in my knowing sanity way that I know that I have rights for. So, yeah.
And we've seen so many times that the people that are supposed to be enforcing those rights are very well uneducated in regards to what it is.
Right.
I'm allowed to say this. I can't say a hateful statement. Makes perfectly good sense. We're not saying hateful statements. I don't recognize that any of us is saying anything hateful other than we don't.
No,
like
but to a Scientologist, somebody saying leave the Sea Org, it's okay to leave the Sea Org. It's okay to live. That's a hateful statement. That was literally in court where they were like, and these hateful statements. And it was like, it's not really hateful, honey. Like, I understand why you're annoyed by that or you find that disgusting, but it's not hateful. It's not hate speech. Anyway, so yeah.
The other day,
sometimes to break that up in somebody's mind, it's like, you got to do that. Sometimes you got to kind of say something where they're like, ugh. And they're like, why would they even say it? Good question. Why would we say something like that about something you think is so pristine and precise?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw any of the Lit Fest. So that was about a month ago. They had the book fair out on the street there.
Yeah.
And at least 10 times they would go to the police and complain about me. And what they would complain about was I was saying they were Scientology. And I just thought it was the most, you're actually fighting against being called a Scientologist right now. You a Scientologist, are going to the
and they don't
police.
want anymore. The more you say that, you a Scientologist is like, shush, don't let the world know. We're trying to scam everybody.
It's like, how is that not out ethics? How are they not?
Is this
on
out
the
ethics,
RP?
Wendy, if I smoke a J
You're
on your
absolutely
channel?
fine.
Okay, good.
Absolutely fine.
I was like, I don't want to be rude. I know it's me, but technically.
So we've had Joe Cool on a couple of times, and I know that there are people that are it puts off some, and it's like, well, you can be put off. You're allowed. I'll allow you to be put off.
There are people who are absolutely put off on me right now. Guess what?
You be you.
Literally, guess what? Nothing. That's the way it is. Fine.
going back to kind of what you had said, that yes, we have to make sure that we're asserting our rights when we're out there. And I got to be honest with you, that if anybody in a logical court of law is hearing what our arguments are, we're not doing anything wrong. Now, Scientology is always going to make up the argument that they're going to try to shift it, that we're being evil and everything, but no reasonable person.
Well, and you've seen in the recent cases,
Yeah.
no judge in the court of law has agreed.
I love those.
I love it. It's so amazing. I cannot wait. Another thing. Oh, I need to write that. Ashley, will you please remind me? I need another thing I need to do for the live stream is do a live stream that is just me highlighting and reading the scripts of all the lies that Kendrick Moxon said during the whole court case. That's all. Lie. Right here, another lie. Lie, lie, lie.
And I love that was in the judgment, that in the judgment, it said your witnesses were unbelievable. Your witnesses were looking to you for answers. And it's like, well, isn't that what
you were coaching the witness? You were leading the witness. And not only that, the witnesses said things that, like, the witness for Scooter Boy's, I don't know if it's, no, but Scooter Boy's wife, nope. Girlfriend, nope. Partner, maybe. A significant other. Okay. Yes. I care about him a lot. Okay. Anyways, this girl was robot freaking like from another planet. I'm not kidding. This is like Xenu world. She was like, absolutely. I'll explain that. No problem. And then in the middle of her explaining, she goes, well, yeah. And we like to just finish our course. And he likes to, he'll take a nap and or he needs to sleep during the day. It's like if he's not sessionable, he has to go take a quick nap. They're crazy. They got to make sure that needle's still alert and floaty. So he has to have enough energy for the meter to read. Anyways, so he's like, oh, she said something. I want the transcripts, but something to the degree of, yeah, he has a mattress on the floor that he can just sleep, that he just goes to and from. Like, she literally says there's a mattress on the floor. She didn't even realize that was not normal. That people paying the amount of money and quantity of money and coming from other countries and other states to be to be staying, they just have mattresses on the floor where they just do a quick sleep. They're literally treated like little idiotic brainwashed robots. They're treating their bodies like their bodies. They're here doing, they coming here to do spirit. They're literally, it's all mental, not even spiritual. It's all mental, the hypnotic, whatever they're doing themselves, right? The OT levels. So it's all mental. So they're treating their body like a messed object. That's what they call it in Scientology, messed. Your body is just a piece of physical mess. So you're auditing these body thetans off of you. So you're too busy spiritually, right? Your thetans, auditing the thetans that you're literally neglecting your body. You don't even realize that your physical mental condition, you're in such a shitty thing. You came all the way from Kansas to and then you're here with your lover. You're probably doing OT levels together or something, and you suck, and you're holding her down because you're supposed to twin on certain things, and you're probably, whatever it is, the partner, my significant other. That's probably what it really is.
Right.
And all this shit. Anyways, I'm going on a roll, but
nobody's going to stop you.
The whole thing is BS. The whole thing is BS. Sorry, crazy love is love. I love you, honey bunny. I love this, babes. I need to be doing a live stream with her very soon, but I'm just catching up with life, guys. I haven't even done my full-on tour recap edition. I just know that she called me and I was like, I cannot answer this right now. Oh my God, I gotta go do so many things. But I love you, baby. Mwah. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a bunch of live streams so everybody can catch up with me. I want to do one with Serge soon. I'm doing one with Liz Thursday. This is all important. And it's like, woo, it's like a never ending of like, oh yeah, this is what happened at Gold Bay. Oh yeah, I forgot. It never ends because it was our whole quote childhood. Right. The amount of love and care and memories and times and photos and all those things that everybody in the world, not everybody, but people in the norm that should have even a little bit to a degree, we do not have. We never had it. We never had that. We never had that. So like we barely even have some photos. So for me, I'm like, ooh, I have a photo of that. It is important. That's important. I only have 3 photo albums of my whole childhood, which is from born to 18 years old. 3 albums that are this big. Like, And it's not even, they're all, it's anyways, the point is, and some people don't have any. Liz Ferris has so little, like we barely have much to talk about. But the fact that when we show these and other people, other children that were raised the way we were, start showing these and well, I really wanted to be with him, my dad, but I couldn't go because he was Italian and he wasn't really into the Scientology thing. So he was just saying it's okay for me to be there as the dad because he knew that Scientology would disconnect him if he wasn't okay in good standing, even though he was, there were so many things like this. And it's like, why does Scientology do this? Why do they do this?
Well, I want to say, I get the why, because it's effective as whatever effective is in that space.
But for what though? Effective for David Miscavige in the end, L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
Effective for pedophiles to go, wow, I finally feel relieved.
That's one thing that I can't understand is the idea.
Why is that okay then? Why is that okay to be
right.
effective? A lot of things, rape can be effective. Like grape,
Right.
I should say grape so that things, but like a lot of things can be effective. Right. I'm just saying, like abuse, that's effective. It's very much effective. It works. So
I guess what I meant is that the reason why Scientology does it is because it keeps people hemmed in, right? In that space.
It keeps it literally like Serge. Serge Amar says this. He's so prolific sometimes in the way he just says things. It keeps them hemmed into the idea that if I keep laundering, paying for money through auditing, I pay 12-hour intensives, right? Then I can get away with my fake power, my mental illness, my disgusting belief that I can have control and power over somebody sexually. That's literally what it is. And I can get away with it spiritually.
Yeah, that's what, just the Danny Masterson, because it was so open and out there, and there have to be any number of executives at Scientology that knew that it occurred. And did none of them, I mean, nobody thought that that's bad to drug women and to sexually abuse them?
If somebody did know it, they did fight, and then they were spit on and they were sent to the equivalent of the RPF or threatened, you will be declared, etc. Yeah. Why does Scientology tell people that you can chop off your hands because your body is a machine? This is a rare thing. Like I've never heard because there were just whatever. I don't know what the issue in that is. I don't know what the exact situation where if that did happen, what that was. But basically, the body is an object, just like my cowbell. It's just a physical thing. So if you do these touch assist and nervous assist and take these vitamins and sweat and do the sauna, then your body and everything will function normal. So your body is just a vessel. If you need to chop your hands off so that you stop molesting children and that you stop putting Scientology at risk because you're a definite risk to do that, then that's the permanent solution because it's just your body and you'll get to that on OT3. Oh, wait, no, you can't. You have to hold the cans. So I guess you're going to have to never get to OT3, but we can still keep your money because we have your secrets now. So we can keep having you pay for things.
It's just ridiculous and sad. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is one of the first people that I listened to, after
they call it this association. Sorry, Serge said it. That is the thing.
Yep.
When you get sent to ethics, when you get sent in session, when you get sent for a sec check, you're getting reassociated. I mean, sorry, you're getting it means you're like, oh, you're kind of getting to yourself and that's not okay. You're out of valence. Get in session. You're out ethics. And so they're putting you back into that monotonous, continuous manipulative control, hypnotic state.
Right. Jeff, PTS for life. One of the earliest videos that I saw him do was, and I agree with it 100%. The very first thing they do is they strip you of individualism and make you feel like you're going to die if you can't be part of the group, right? That it's, I'm going to mix you into the group and that you don't exist outside of the group. And that's such a common tactic in so many high control groups, the idea of you're nobody. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't exist, right?
I mean, even as a cadet, though, die wasn't a thing. I think it was more
Yeah,
like you're not allowed to, like I didn't even know what like unaliving yourself was. I didn't even like
right.
not at all. Like, and oh God, this is horrible. But the first time I really got it was when I was like 10 years old at the Ant Ranch, and one of my really good best friends. That is so weird. I feel like bad if I don't say it, like that she's still my best friend, but I haven't seen her for 18 years or whatever. But one of my best friends tried to unalive herself by drinking the lye that they used to harvest the oil when we picked all the olives for the executives and the who's of the whatever Scientology realm. One of the mechanisms you use to pull the bitter and all that crap out of the olive and everything, basically just destroy the whole point of the olive, is this lye, which is like a poison, and it pulls it out, and then you put it in salt water for 3 days, and that salt water pulls that lye out, and then you have that weird olive that's not even an olive anymore, full of salt and flavor and whatever. But she drank that. She was drinking it, and she had told me. It was so weird, Windy. Oh my God. She was telling me, I'm going to do this. I want you to know. And I'm writing a letter and I'm going to leave it here for you. But I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'm letting you know this is going to happen. It took me not even like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago to realize like, oh my God, I was so close to her that she was telling me, I don't know how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do. I just want you to know that I'm putting this letter here. When I'm gone, you'll know if there's a letter here that it will be here. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, I'm so honored that you're telling me this, because she was like, come here, we're going to run off. She brought me, this is insane. She brought me to the top of the mountain hill where the horse corral was, where they would let the horses just run in the pasture in the freaking mountains of Hemet, because it would, whatever. Anyways. And we were up there and we were hiding, and she had been hidden from the adults. They were looking for her. And I was freaking standing in line at attention in a muster. And there was an adult talking or something at the front, like, and I heard Megan, and I was like, what? And I looked over, and it was Sarah, and she was like, come here. And I was like, my instinct of my loyalty and my friendship to her and all the shit and all the adventure and everything we had been on, and they had put me in the governance group, made me go like, oh my God, I'm going. So I ran off with her, and we blew. We were blown for 24 hours. And so by the end of in the middle of our blow, she told me what she was doing. And then like for the rest of the day, we were running and hiding from them. So it was so weird. As a child, my attention was like, oh no, when am I going to have to see that letter? I was thinking, when is she going to do that? I hope that she'll change her mind. I was thinking, it was so weird. I felt so bad for her about how she felt, that I was like, no, I understand. This is so bad. I was like, I could feel that I understood.
Right.
That she didn't want to go through it anymore. But then I was also so loyal. I felt like, I don't want to stop you if that's what you really want to do.
Yeah. So,
and I didn't understand what death was. I was just like thinking, well, then I'll always know you're here with me. It was so weird.
And I think you just answered it already, but the idea that you weren't equipped to go find help, and then also to go find help,
and I would get in trouble,
betray your friend, right?
And if I went back, I would have gotten, which I did. I got in trouble anyways, because I ran off with her as an instinct instead of staying in line in the muster. Yeah. And it was like 7 o'clock at night. The sun Sarah was smart when it came to running away. We would steal the radios of the security in the adult office. We would wait for the adult to do the code. And she would go in, put a little clay in the door so it wouldn't shut fully, so they think, oh, it's locked. They would leave. She would run in, get the battery, get a brand new charged battery. So she ran away. She would be like, okay. She would hold down, and she could hear what they were saying, and she would hold down and be so annoying when they were trying to like communicate. They couldn't. If you're holding down the thing, nobody
Could
can hear
squawk the
anything.
mic. Yeah. That's
So there was
awesome.
a lot, those, like you talked about, like funny memories and little things. Like, yeah, there were some benefits. Like I learned there were ways in a jail frame of mind to have fun, I guess, in fun ways. Being that, like, blowing and running away felt like the funnest times. Like those were the memories where I was like, the most craziest things happened to me. I saw a mountain lion. I saw a bobcat. And I freaked out. I saw a freaking mountain lion and her 2 cubs just sitting chilling with her, and she was chilling on the tree but looking right at me
Oh yeah.
like a what. And I was like, oh my God. And I knew about mountain lion, like but I was like, and I went from sobbing tears to like. And then another time I was on top of a mountain, there was a fox, an actual real wildlife fox came. I was bawling my eyes. I was so angry. And I was like, ah, and I was like screaming at the top of this like mountain that was sort of away, not too far, but I was so angry. And they were like, oh, just let her go. She needs to cool off or whatever. She needs to do a location. She needs to walk. And I went in there and I was just crying. And then I was just like, wow, the world is so pretty, like looking at the view. And all of a sudden a fox came right out of the bushes, looked at me, and I was like, I got so like excited. I was like, no way. It felt like a Disney creature just came out of the bushes. This cute little red, bright fox.
Snow White.
It was insane. I was like, what? And then it was like, and it looked at me, it did something, and I was like, oh my God. And then it got, I was like trying to make it come close to me, and I was like, oh my God. And because I spoke, it got scared and it ran off.
Bye-bye. Yes.
But then right when it ran off, I had this overwhelming feeling of like, oh, I'm not as sad as I just was literally 5 seconds ago. There was this weird thing that the fox was like, it's okay. Like, and then I was so upset. And then I was like, oh my God, a fox. And I totally went from like anger, complete, like, what the fuck? What is wrong with life? I was like yelling to the sky. And then like I waited a little, and then all of a sudden a fox came out, and I just got so distracted and my tears dried up. Yeah. So anyways, yeah.
So nature and the universe are greater than Scientology.
I don't know.
But those are some you're
Nature
right about
for
that idea.
sure.
Yeah, these little
Nature for
things.
sure. The universe. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Scientology is disgusting. It's made up and it's disgusting.
Do you know how many, so few people, those 3 animals alone, so few people probably, like if you were to have everybody raise hands, so few people on the planet have seen those 3 animals, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the things that when you said in your chat the other day, you talked about the giraffe and your wife, and you said you were going somewhere, and she was like, oh yeah, that's a giraffe. Like, and you're like, oh my God, it's a giraffe. And then you're like, no, honey, like, I'm not used to this. This is incredible, or whatever.
I didn't grow up with giraffes.
I didn't go, and there's so many things where like I didn't grow up having cookies and cream ice cream on the edge of my fingers all the time, or whatever. So, or having the love of a family, or the connection of a hug from a kid who loves me, and now I'm the adult, and I'm like, oh wait, I never hugged people like this. Like, what the hell? Like, the way you learn things is so strange especially when you're purposely being vulnerable and like okay and susceptible to like being like, wow, is this weird that I'm acting or talking this way to something? Like, oh, somebody got upset when I said that. I wonder why. Like, and then later they were like, oh, I love you. Thank you for telling me that. I'm like, oh, okay. So sometimes it's okay. Like, who can handle, like, it's so interesting. Human behavior. It's so wild.
Yes.
Even my own. I'm not human, obviously. I'm alien.
Well, you Thetans from 76 million trillion miles away and all. Did you enjoy the volcano? Did you enjoy the being blown up? How far did you go on? Like, were you how much studying did you do in Scientology?
Oh my God, I did so much studying. But studying in the way that L. Ron Hubbard tells you, you have to study this book in this way. You have to read this book like this. If you're falling asleep, the supervisor or you need to catch yourself and go, oh, I must have a misunderstood word. Because L. Ron Hubbard says, if you're reading a book and you're falling asleep, it's because you missed a word that you don't understand.
Or
and there's multiple things.
Hours straight.
literally, or you're deprived of sleep and everything, connection of life. And this is the most you are the most boring person to listen to when there could be anything happening more in life that would be interesting, like flirting with the Sea Org member right next to me. So you're really just like, yeah.
It's hilarious. So were you pre-clear? It was all the pre-clear classes and all of those courses.
Per says T. Yeah, she's like, Foxy, you want to say hi to the chat?
IT.
Fox, come say hi.
Are you back home or are you still in Scotland?
Look at the baby.
Hello, Foxy.
Foxy, say hi.
Hello, Foxy.
Look over here.
I see you. I see you.
She's like,
Oh,
okay, I'm gonna go back to
Can't
my
hear your
bone.
headphones. Yeah.
I gave her a bone.
Nice.
She's very excited. Yeah, she's such a good girl. Okay, yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I just asked T if she was still in Scotland or if she had gone back home yet. So.
Are you still in Scotland, T? Are you still in Scotland?
Nice. I love accents. So I love when listening to her.
If I listen
Alex
to somebody
Gilmore.
long enough, I will start. I'd be like, okay, hold on, let me, and then I can start reciting it back to them. Like I can, oh no, I don't really know if I like Helicopter or whatever. Anybody that I can listen to long enough, I'm like, okay, I can mimic your accent. Hold on, give me a minute and go. Like I can do it.
At work, I work in the tech industry, so there's an awful lot of Asian folk, and they would have accents, and I would realize that if I talked to them with their accent, I could hear it. It was easier for me to understand them, and I felt
And for them, and sometimes they get a joke like, "Why you say like that?" or something, and I'm like, "Well, because that's how you originally, when I met you, you would understand it."
Yes.
And so, like, I do that even with my Russian friends or my Korean friends. I always like do things and they mimic it, and I laugh so hard. I'm like, I probably look stupid, huh? They're like, "You Americans," so funny.
Yes, we are stupid Americans.
We are, but we're also so it's like normal for us to think that it's like it's normal for us to think that like we should, as I don't know, as Americans, I feel like we should be so culture like inviting. We should be so like this should be like, I mean, I'm sure that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a land of freedom where anybody can come, but I just feel like it's not that. And one of the things is like, well, you have a freaking little cancerous little fucking dot with little claws like Scientology in it. What do you mean? Wake up. I think a lot of people were lying to themselves in a natural way through so long in our justice systems and politics and everything. We're always lying. We're lying to everybody. We're lying to that. Politics lie all the fucking time. They're lying about their reputation. They're lying about who they screw. They're lying whether they're loyal religious man or not. They're just liars.
Absolutely.
Like, be transparent, you fucking liars.
That I would say that it's one of the things that I'm most dissatisfied with about politics is that nobody says what they're supposed to say. They say what people want to hear.
Right.
They don't say what they should be saying or what they actually feel or what they're actually doing. And yeah, the dishonesty, the deception, and they realize that you win if lying wins, right?
Sometimes Moxon tried that in a legal court. Clearly, he's not winning.
I agree.
Loser. Moxon's a loser. I love saying that. It's like a childhood stupidness. I love it.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's Kendrick Moxon or there's a Moxon who is part of this foundation here in Chicago. Oh, look at you in the hair.
It's like, what's it gonna do? My hair just does what it
doesn't it?
Yeah. No, now it's too feminine. It has to be more like that. Okay. Wait, so what is this? What?
We have a Moxon here too. Let me see. I don't think it's Kendrick. I think
Brian Moxon? Brian Moxon.
Yes. He is the legal counsel for, so I don't know how much you know about Chicago, but you've got Joe Cicala, who
I've seen a bunch, but the names so go ahead. Wait, the Joe who?
Joe Cicala, he runs a company called Dream Exchange. Okay. And they're a kind of a stock exchange, but he's the father of the executive director of Chicago.
He's the
So
father of the
he's the
executive
father of
director.
the ED Chicago,
Okay.
and he donates an awful lot of money there. And if you ever look at our staff, the staff in Chicago, they're all also employees of Dream Exchange. So he's a big benefactor of the church in that regard. But on his legal counsel is Moxon, and the first thing we realize, wait, isn't there a Moxon that's a lawyer out in L.A.?
Okay. I don't
They get
know
around
what the
apparently.
connection. No, I don't know what the connection is with Brian Moxon. I don't know if there is even. That would be
Oh.
weird, right? I don't know. Like, it doesn't. It would make sense if they were connected. Brian Moxon and Kendrick Moxon. Maybe he's the son that we don't know about. I have no idea. I don't think they're related though.
Okay, gotcha. But he definitely is he shows up
Oh,
on
I was about to
Scientology.
ban red tagged for a minute.
Okay.
And then I was like, wait, that's such a good name that would be a troll. There's no way that red tagged. I'm like, that's so Scientology appropriate. But they said, I said she, I don't know if that's even right. Moxon actually won. His stat is probably days protesters are TRO'd. Right. So he's trying to stretch that out. Well, this week, his stats are fucking down. Very much down. Because now there are now Scott and Danny are not TRO'd. Nobody's TRO'd. We're gonna un-TRO on the 23rd. Josiah, he's got that, so we need to support and make
That's
sure
his last
that.
trial. Okay.
Yep, that's hopefully
Or
to
next
just
trial.
shut all that BS down with the whole Patrick Perry and Scientology at the testing center when Aaron and all that, when AA Ron and all that happened. This was just a connection from that, which they're just trying to pull this awesome dude that's just trying to literally get on his feet and live his life and do his jump roping and be a free freaking spirit after all the crap he's been through. And it's just like, leave him alone. Like, people make mistakes, especially when they've been coming out of abusive crap their whole majority of their life that they haven't even lived. Leave them alone. Let them give them a break. Literally chill. So, but anyway, so they're just trying to pull him into that.
Right. The lawyer that Danny and Streets had, brilliant woman, and thank God that she wants. It seems like she almost likes doing this, but I told DOA when he was here, or Scotty when he was here, that I'm so impressed that he just stands up toe to toe with him by himself and comes out, and it's like,
I want to say I'm impressed, but sometimes I'm really like I'm at work or doing something like like having a panic attack. I'm like, come on,
is this the day that they lock him up?
No, right? Yeah, like it's not fun for me yet. I haven't gotten back there yet, for sure. I'm always like, if like I'm barely laughing at a little joke in the chat here and there. I'm like, funny. I'm always like, oh no, I'm like on like a mad dog on the lookout. Like,
That's got to be so demoralizing to them, though, right? The idea that they can't even get a pro se guy in that situation, and he seems very well. Again, he's had a lot of practice in this process, so kudos.
I would definitely say, though, that the Scientology protesting is giving him a lot more different, very deep practice, like where he's like experiencing a whole different kind of protesting with and obviously I'm with him, so it's like a deeper emotional thing for him now. He's even it's almost like he can even see things closer in a closer perspective, just seeing me live my life and all that. So yeah,
it's that I'm still impressed that so I still say Good is the rise of, Good and Jessica were the rise of protesters. Kudos to that, and that it hasn't really died down. Yeah, there's been some ebb and flow in regards to what's going on, and some people have gotten scared off maybe, or they're tired, right? There's plenty of reasons why people wouldn't do this. Nobody wants to have the legal battles and all of that. But I'm so happy that people are continually fighting against this horror.
Me too.
Right?
Me too. 100%.
And we're seeing it everywhere. And I think that MD Media, every once in a while, MD Media kind of feels bad because, it's just Pasadena. It's like, I don't care if it's Lodunk, Texas, right? No matter where you're at, shut them up.
That's how I feel.
can't
I'm like, no, you're a Pasadena org by yourself, man. No, I even was like, oh, Matt's the only one doing Pasadena. Like, I just felt like it's like obvious. It's more obvious, and it's more almost effective if you kind of go on your own with your own mission and your own like understanding of why you're going to that org to deal with what you're gonna say. And maybe like Matt does it, his Media, shout out to Media. He literally does MD Media. He does he does it in a way where he's soft and gentle things and has direct, oh, hey there, how you doing? Like, oh, hey, can you send a message to Philly Anderson? Like the way, like that's not me. I'm not gonna be like, hey, you. Like, I'm gonna be like, you're in the Sea Org, wake up, like whatever it is, right? But I don't know. There's just everybody does their things, and even if it's just one person at the Pasadena org or in Kansas or Portland or whatever it is, or they're by themselves and they haven't got it's amazing to keep the repetitiveness of the protesters continuously whenever it is at nighttime. If it's 3 a.m. and you're like, hell yeah, I got this shit live. Do it. If it's Portland and you haven't been out there for a minute, do it. If it's anywhere, if it's in Ohio, shout out to my Beaver. What's his name?
Yeah, D3 Beaver.
No.
Beaver.
Darth Beaver. Darth Beaver,
yes.
I believe, is the Ohio guy. Anyways, I'm probably messing that up. But and all these people, it's super important. It's super important. Like it keeps everybody, all of us, like it's like that circle. It's not the Dianetics triangle or the ARC. It's not that. There's no hierarchy. It's how are we all doing? How are you doing? Okay. Okay, this part's kind of shitty right now. Okay, let's move. Yeah, let's move forward. So, or let's keep going. We're adjusted. You know, there's I have a bag that has on a goldenrod bag that says, I forget who it's from. I think it's Benjamin. No. It's from somebody smart. That says those who survive the best or whatever are the ones who are susceptible to change.
Correct. Adaptable to change.
Adaptable
to change.
Yeah.
Right. The idea that's really what it is.
Yeah, adaptable. Like they can. And that makes sense.
And I'll
like, right. Like, isn't that what we're doing in life? If Mother Nature, if you live on a freaking your own island in the middle of nowhere, you're still going to have nature problems that you're never going to be able to control. Like, that's just life. Things are going to happen out of control, which is such a beauty of life. You can go, ooh, that just, can you believe that just happened? And sometimes it's funny but surprises and fun things that you aren't expecting are actually the things of life. The things that you learn that you didn't know are the exciting things. Even if it's bad, you're like, I'll never do that again. I'll never go skydiving. I'll never do ayahuasca, whatever it is. The fact that you did it makes you feel so good to talk about it and say, wow, or whatever it was.
Absolutely correct. That surviving that is one of the most, it's like, I didn't want to be in that situation, but I'm not anymore. And, thank God.
Yeah. I love saying like some things people say, like, it could be people who never know my story or anything. And they're trying to be all wise or something. And they're like, what are you so proud of in life? Like some people say, oh, I had a child. And like, with that, yeah, of course, that's great. Of course. Yep. Good. And they come to me. I'm like, I'm glad that I quit smoking cigarettes and that I left Scientology. Those are two things I'm definitely so damn proud of myself for.
I know nothing about quitting Scientology. And by the way, I never smoked, but I know that quitting smoking is nobody did that easily.
Nope. Nobody does it easily.
My grandfather was the weirdest guy.
Unless you're OT8.
Yes. he was an awesome guy. He used to buy his cigarettes at the Navy surplus store because you got them cheaper. And one day they were like $3 a carton. And he said, well, this is just stupid. I'm never going to pay for cigarettes again. When he passed away, and he lived to be 92, when he passed away, we went through the house, and the cigarettes that he bought that day that were too expensive were still in the cabinet. So he's the only one I know that just said, yeah, I'm not going to do it anymore. Right?
Yeah. I'm done. Wow. Yeah. He probably forgot about it and was like, oh yeah, why am I doing that? I don't even need it. It's just a bad habit. Sometimes the group agreement is stronger than the individual, And so you're just doing something because your friends are doing. Like, that was another thing. The only way I quit, one of the ways I quit smoking cigarettes, and still I went back every once in a while. And the next day I'm like, oh, ew, I smoked 2 puffs of a cigarette. I can feel it the next day. I can stay, like whatever. But it is what it is. And I never punished myself too hard. I'm like, whatever. Look, it took you a while to leave Scientology. It's probably the same with quitting cigarettes and all kinds of things, right?
Yeah, I like that idea. Just start again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Start stopping again tomorrow. Right.
Yeah, start stopping, and also like you're doing good. You're already, that means you got through this far to do it. So good.
Yep.
And like, yeah, make sure you feel shitty about doing that and be like, ew, see, remember, look, before you brush your teeth, remember that taste in your mouth. Remember how disgusting that is. Like, certain things, I would do certain things, but it was amazing because it was the first time that I was able to start talking and thinking for myself and to myself. I mean, I was talking to myself, but I was like able to be like, I wonder if I want to, nobody's going to convince me to quit smoking more than myself.
Right.
So
I agree with
was
that.
like,
And if you do it for somebody else, when somebody else goes away, you're going to be right back at it. Right. That idea. If I did it for my girlfriend, I did it for whatever, and we break up. Well, what's the first thing you're going back to?
Right. I mean, but I do believe that there are people who can love, who are so loving that they can share their love or their guidance with like taking care of yourself, giving yourself self-love, that they can go like, hey, do this for me, and then do it for yourself when you're going to end up doing it for yourself once you get your, strength or whatever.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm still cheering for you, Deb.
Hey, do what you got to do. I'm still around all the smoking and all that. This is planet Earth, all right? Yep. But no, I did. It's just something that I was definitely like, I don't know. I loved smoking cigarettes. So I loved that, whatever the numbing, whatever it did, whatever the brain, whatever's right. I loved it. So I was like, how am I ever going to stop smoking? Fucking, it's so nice when I'm drinking. It's like the best. What do you mean? So I get it. And I don't ever mean to like directly nag on cigarette smokers. And I say that specifically, cigarette smokers. But I just know how disgusting it is now that I can smell even a pinch of it when it comes near the smoke in my apartment. I'm like, get that out of here. And it stays on the clothes and everything. Anyways, but that's besides the point. My body doesn't like it. And I love that I learned that my body doesn't like it. And it was something that I was so stubborn at one point, like, oh no, fuck it, I'm a rock star. I love smoking. It chills me out. Fuck you. Like, and now here I am like, I hate cigarettes.
This is good. And I did know people that they did it because it was cool. That was always what it is.
Oh, that was one of the things that started the cigarette smoking, is when I was leaving the Sea Org for the 3rd time. Finally, I was like, I'm not going to go back. I'm going to stick to leaving. I'm going to stick to my routing form and get out of here. One of the things I started doing was picking up cigarettes and somehow getting people that were also leaving that were once in the outside world. So they didn't understand when they were being rebellious. I felt like, dang, I am being rebellious. Nice. I was like, ooh, she was like, oh, I got you a pack of Cools. I was like, what? I was like, holy shit, hide these in. Oh my God, I have a pack of Cools. I'm only 16. And then I would be like smoking at the freaking Sea Org dorms out in the back, like at the Hacienda and the ethics apartment, like, oh good, everybody left. I'm here. I'm like, ooh, I remember looking at the moon like I'm so cool. And seeing this smoke, look at all, it was just, yeah. So smoking, like, it's all trauma bonding and everything, whatever, So like when you start to release things, it feels great to be like, wow, it made so much sense why I always wanted that cigarette and why it feels so comfortable, a nurturing thing to have the cigarette to separate me from an immediate answer or an immediate conversation that I have to have somebody. I could like, oh, sorry, is my smoke in your face? Oh, good, I can walk away. Like it was also a thing where I was like, oh, they're getting so annoyed at me smoking. They're like, oh, Megan thinks it's okay to smoke. So, like, I still remember that hadn't seen me for a while. Gayla, one of my friends, Gayla from the Int Ranch Cadet Org, saw me and we were friends the whole time. And she was like, oh, I know what you're doing. Like, she was like, okay, well, I'm waiting for you to come back, like that. Like, come, like waiting for you to change your mind and get your ethics in. So I would see her and she would see me and she would write a report on me. I saw her smoking. Or Gayla wanted to leave all of a sudden. And they would be like, what influenced you to leave? And she was like, I don't know. I just want to I seen Megan on it. And I just feel like maybe if she's going to have fun, that maybe I should have fun. And if I want to come back, then I'll come back. And they don't like that. And so, okay. Going on a whole roll about this smoking the cool cigarettes. And L. Ron Hubbard smoked cool cigarettes, right? And the more you smoke, the more you won't get cancer, allegedly by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor? Can you watch our crowd for a minute? I'm going to go see A Man About a Horse, and I'll be right back.
Perfect. I also, yes. Thank you. Hi, guys. Also, I can just go like that. It's my chat. I took over Windy's chat. Thank you, Witch Share, you angel babe. And I also got your other email the last time, even when you did another sweet thing after I sent you your sweet merch and gifts. You are amazing. I'm here with you. We are here for each other. You're freaking awesome. And I love your positive energy. And I know that's in this. I'm going to read it. Always keep fighting. You are stronger than you think. Am I, Share? Be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you. And thank you for being an inspiration, Lara. Sending you both peace and love and positive vibes. Thank you, angel babe. Thank you, guys. Well, how fun is this? Oops. Am I shaking too much? It's because I'm like, oh, this isn't my chat. I can just do whatever I want. I guess it's our chats. Kelly, hi. Oh, thank you. Yes, you are strong AF. This was a great chat. I agree.
So I had my earpiece in the whole time, and I agree with everybody that you are a strong person, and I do think that you inspire people, and whether or not you want to or whatever the case may be, I think that you're somebody who people look up to and say, well, I'm really proud of what she did with her life, right? So, and
I like that.
The idea that you go out wholehearted to protest Scientology whenever you can, right? And that's just amazing. Eric talks about it a little bit, that sometimes he's challenged when he's by the building because it brings back memories that he just doesn't feel comfortable around it. I know that Natalie has said that before as well. And I just love that you're strong enough to say, F it. I don't like these people. I want to stop them. And I'm going to do whatever I can to do that. So,
yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I think one of these streams may be like a year from now or something, because I can't plan too much, Lara. But I would love to do just like a sort of timeline of like catching up, like, look, and this is how I got this, and then I was on tour, and then I did this, and this is what made me want to speak out. And just kind of go through the years of the key points of the way that my life shifted and changed in so many different ways, and how it could have gone different ways. Like, right. Yeah. Because that definitely happens. And I feel like when your childhood has been literally stolen from you, and then you thought you were just not that good of a person your whole fucking childhood, everything, you're just kind of like, oh, maybe I am kind of aberrated, or I'm rebellious, or whatever the term is that people want to use. Like, that's how you feel as a kid your whole childhood. You're just gonna you're like, well, people like me, but oh, now they're mad at me because I want to leave. I'm finally making my own decision. It's so confusing. And so I think for once I've literally been making my own decisions. And yes, I've messed up a few times, but it's okay. It's okay.
I have bad news. You're going to mess up more times.
Oh, no, I'm perfect.
Yeah. You haven't quite gotten there yet. How was the tour? So
it was really awesome. I'm having somebody help me because I really want to do the tour recap, like with all this footage and fun stuff, so people can't really grasp the whole like. I think it took even for me a month or two, even after the tour, to really go, wow, guys, we fucking did it. Like, was
that the first time you had done, you were
by myself? Yes, with just the supporters from YouTube, literally from protesting and stuff. 100%.
It's awesome.
I just
awesome.
decided that's it. I'm going to do it. I did it with a band, my first and only other band, Little Red Radio. I did it with them, and that's how I got the idea. Like, hey, our band did it before with just us, and we weren't signed. Like, maybe I could do it by myself, with the support that I had. I would never. Nobody can just do shit by themselves. No, that's just such bullshit. If you're doing a service to the people of Earth, you're gonna need the people of Earth to be a part of what you're doing. You're not gonna just be like, listen to me, everybody, demand my attention. I have a show. Like, nobody's like, who the fuck are you? Shut up.
Hear ye, hear ye. That's awesome.
I am the emperor with no clothes.
You have to come to the Midwest next time.
And not next time. I am going to do one-off shows, like I'll maybe come to the Midwest, even not with the van and do the whole thing, even though I love the van with the signs. Like, that to me is so important. The amount of people that see and honk and wave and thumbs up, it's so cool. It's like, oh my God. And they're realizing, yeah, fuck Scientology. They do that. And so they're going, yeah. And then it's just so cool to get the validation. Like, oh, look at that. I don't even have to have a show. Like, I don't have to sing my heart out just to promote the whole protest and all that. I can enjoy my shows and know that wherever I go in my little van on my wheels, we're promoting these kids can't consent. Scientology is a cult. Revoke Scientology's tax exempt status. Stop kids, so it's really amazing. And people, oh, Scientology, well, what is it? And the talking and the flyering, everything. So I want to do I want to do it well. I want to do the video and the recap well. It will come out probably a year from now, like I said. I'll be on the next tour before the next video from the last tour comes out. But yeah,
here's what it is.
We're
Go
definitely
figure out how Fiverr works and just have somebody else make your video. I'm no good at it either, but the idea of you can get somebody to do this.
This is a good idea. This is a good idea. See, I might ask somebody that I know actually. So maybe that will happen sooner or later.
Awesome, love it.
And I am coming to the Midwest. And if you have venue yourself, Paul, because that's how we did the West Coast. What we did, we went all the way up through Portland, all the way to Washington, Idaho, everything and all that. And Utah, all my little babies. But that's the same thing I would want to do, even if we were flying out, even if it was just me, Selfless, and Surge, whatever it is. We're flying out, we do a gig or two, we're staying at the hotels, we're getting loved by all of our community. Like, that's what we want. We want the full support. And so if you have a venue or anything, or even for the people that are out there, like, hey, Windy, I'm your buddy and I own this restaurant. Hello, you forgot, or whatever.
What size venue are you? Is it restaurants? Is it theater?
Not restaurant? I meant more like a venue for music that they have bands. They have a sound person, preferably a little bar or something that people can have a beer or two, even if it's just a wine bar or a beer bar or a full on bar, whatever it is. So I always go from totally hole in the wall bars from 5 to 10 people, which I love. Sometimes those are the coolest, all the way up to 100 people. Like, I think one of my comfortable shows, if I had to pull 100 people, I could do that. But it would have to be valuable and artistically worth it to me. If I can do my screen, I can hire my dancers and do the whole thing that I want to do, then I can pull that 100 people. So whatever it is, and it doesn't matter where it is. There's no state that I can't do that. Trust me. People will want to show.
I actually do. I used to have a bar. I no longer own, but I do have some contacts there. So
cool.
I'll put out some.
Yeah, they can always. Ooh, look at what I can do. This is why it's so cool to have. Oh no, is mine on here? No, it's not. I think it's just yours. Oh wait.
No, you should be.
If I go, no.
Oh wait.
I was gonna pull up my.
Let me do this. Present
my website. Lara FM.
I am going to do two things. Let's see. I'll start with. So this is YouTube.
Thank you. There you go.
And we've also got.
You got me learning. Learning and loving. That's my website. Lara. Yeah, it's just Lara.fm. That's it. There's no .com after it, nothing. It's just Lara.fm. LARA.FM.
Yes. And for folks on the other side of the chat, you can come and visit me every once in a while too.
Yes, go subscribe to Windy City Thetanwatch. You're probably I bet you'll get. I'll throw you. I bet you a few subscribers. I bet you some people put a 1 in the chat if you subscribe to Windy. If you subscribe just now, or if you're doing it tonight, put a 1. Put a 1 in the chat. Windy City Thetanwatch.
Dio and I had a conversation, and he was very, very gracious. When he was here, we went out and we had a drink afterwards, and it was I enjoyed the conversation. I'm going to pretend he did too. He stayed there the whole time. But on his train home, he had kind of talked about it, and I jokingly said that you had told people that, hey, anybody who had my moderator you had to unsubscribe, and I told him you cost me 10 subscribers, and I just thought it was very funny that the power, the only power was, and I think it went to something earlier you said that for the most part people can get on board with what I'm doing, because I don't care about the background stuff. I'm just out there protesting.
And I wouldn't even, I guess you say background stuff. I would say it's just trauma. It's everybody's reactions to traumas and how they dealt with things and how they did it bad or good. So I feel like once something's done, it's like it's now at a certain point, like it's nobody's fault. It's just now everybody's responsibility to be better.
Yeah, I agree. And
we can only learn from our faults, the whole world, individually and as groups. We can only learn from doing something and going, oh, that didn't work out. Or, oh, that worked out, but these things weren't good. And that's what messed it up. So boom, let's do it again and watch this work great. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Look at me being a little preacher.
But I think it's important. And it was similar to the idea when you were talking about smoking, right? That, hey, I didn't do it as well yesterday. Tomorrow's another
exactly.
Let's do it better tomorrow.
Don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. You know how you feel. You don't like this yucky feeling. You don't like the guilt yuck. You don't like that. Remember that the next time you get slaughtered drunk, because it's in my mind, I was like, it's okay to be drunk. I just caught myself when I get too drunk, then I start smoking cigarettes. I make it okay in my mind, right? So then I'm like, remember this when you're sober now and you're hungover. You better remember how you're feeling and how shitty you feel. That's what I would have to tell myself, because nobody else, I didn't have my mom to tell me that and to be there by my side, even if I fucked up a million times. Absolutely not. She was not. So good mom, bad dad. There's no comparison, and there's no, pointing fingers anymore. At this point, it's like, okay, I can point fingers for the rest of my life at my parents and everybody, but I can also enjoy my fucking own life. And I could just say, no, this is no more what I'm having in my life. And I will speak about openly what is not okay.
Absolutely. So all you need to do is get a plane ticket and you're going to head to Australia.
Yes! T-Perth. Australia is literally freaking waiting for us. Australia, I'm waiting for Australia. I love it. I want to go right now. Right now.
I think it's important that I don't know if healing is the right idea. I've always, something that I've continually said is that when we get rid of Scientology, I'll fight against anybody else you want to. But until we get rid of Scientology, I'm going to concentrate on that, right? And yeah, I don't like the things that are going on in the, there are people that they're trying to make a point that big deal, right? You're going to prove your point, but you're not going to really help. You're not harming Scientology by poking at the people at our table, right?
Yeah. And I also think that it's harder for us protesters, all of us, all the ones that have been protesting for years for Scientology, anti-Scientology stuff, Tory, Magoo, Anonymous, Angry Gay Pope, all these people, everybody that has been doing everything that has been so fucking uncomfortable for so long. Like a lot of people have been doing it, even people we disagree with or like or dislike. They've been doing it for a while, and then we've been doing it now for a while. So like, all of it in the end we all win, no matter the disagreements. In the end, we all win, because Scientology is disgusting. Scientology, and the other thing that is hard is that, in my eyes, and I'm just learning and loving, right, guys? So don't bite at me. But in my eyes, I'm finally learning a little bit of the world. I'm finally kind of getting the world in its pockets. Of course, there's things I don't know, but I'm starting to understand the structure of the world and hierarchy and certain behaviors and cultures and things like that, right? And I just feel like, I don't know how to say this, but I just feel like there's never gonna be, I'm never gonna not, if you haven't murdered, if you're not murdering, raping, molesting, whatever, I don't even want to say everything. If you're not doing that, then I feel like then you don't have a problem. Like, then work on yourself and you're fine. I don't feel bad. I feel like I feel bad for the world, because there's a lot of people that are doing that get away with this stuff all the time. And now it's being hidden in Scientology as a religious, like, way to be okay with saying it without going to jail or being held legally for it. And they are getting away with it. And that is what's happening. And then you have people like me who are telling our stories and having these things. I can't imagine what I would have done with art and music had this not been my life. I know it's in my blood and in my freaking everything. It's in me. So it's just like, I don't know. It means so much to have the full circle come around, being like, maybe I need to teach the world. Maybe this is what I'm teaching the world, to be like, y'all all in a cult in some form. You're all being susceptible to some sort of cult-like behavior. Like,
Yeah,
even
differing
for
degrees.
me going to the court system and going into the judge and under the Bible, under the book, you're under a religious Bible book that I never was raised in. Like, and to me, that seems like, so you're demanding that I have to be a certain belief, and I have to believe for me to be an American and for my own. There's some, even in the court system, they use, under the godly, under the trust of God, like, whether you agree with me believing it or not, that should be still my choice. And here I am going to get justice, and the justice court system is believing in the Bible and this book. They build this. So it's just like, it's confusing to me. It's
Correct.
confusing to a lot of people, and it should be confusing to most of humanity. But most of humanity is groomed to Catholic or Christianity or things like this, these common religions, right? All these common people. But so I don't know. So yeah, I'm always going to be learning and loving. And I feel like the more I'm learning, I'm also showing an example to the world through my behavior and learning through my openness and being like, hey, yeah, I did this to numb this. I did, and I do this to do this, and I'm okay with that. I don't care if you like it or not. This is the facts. Like, nobody says it anymore. They're just numbing and hiding all their feelings and their relationships. And really, I'm having this, and I'm fucking these people while I'm married, and like drugging these people and running a sex traffic thing now because this is the norm. This is the norm now.
That I agree with that. That the frequency at these new cases of, and most of it is essay that we're hearing about in these spaces, but the frequency is, to your point, oh yeah, it's just what happens. Now, when I was a kid, and you probably missed this because it wasn't, it was before you would have been in Scientology, but there was always the running joke that actresses were on the casting couch. And then after a while, we realized that's not a fun thing to, or it wasn't cool to say that anymore. And then when we stopped saying it, we kind of thought that it wasn't happening. Well, regardless of us saying it or not, it was always happening, right?
Right.
This idea. And when I hear
And that's
about,
the similar thing. It's like, okay, well, like, you don't really have to believe in God, or you don't have to do this, but you're still setting yourself up into the standard. It would be like, I don't know, I could be totally far-fetched here, because there's a lot of beautiful things about religions. That's and I don't consider Scientology religion, so they're not in that category. So there's a lot of beautiful things about religion that are magically deeply beautiful, that like it almost goes, dang, that's so fucked up that there's so much pedophilia or anything going on in these sort of sake. It really disturbs and yucks the environment of this spiritual religious belief, that so it makes it hard for me to even go there, because I'm like, you know, you could have been indoctrinated into these Catholic things for so long that you've made it okay, that I mean, not okay, but you've gotten your beautiful religious spiritual information by some pedophile. You didn't even know what they were doing. You just looked up to them as some godly person, but you could have been totally wrong.
100%. That
so it has to be for the end. It has to be one. It has to be for yourself. You have to do things for yourself and then see how people vibe with you. And if they don't vibe with you, you don't vibe. But if you vibe slightly, then cool, you vibe slightly. Like, I just think these things of like, we're not friends, we don't work, you can't protest like that, that's not your belief, religion is my religion, not yours. Like all these fucked up way, you're just gonna cause war. You're literally gonna cause war. And then we're going to have foundations on how do we stop the wars? And it's just a recycled fucking insane circle.
Yeah. The vast majority of wars throughout history have been religious battles, right?
100%.
In regards to what goes on.
And Scientology is psychotic without wars. They're still starting wars. Yes. Scientology is doing wars with like literally in our faces, just hiding it. Yeah. We are at war with Kendrick Moxon and everybody. Yeah. We're fighting 100%. The lawyers right now. We're getting approval or disapproval. We're on a chessboard game. Literally like, oh, we got that one. Good. We got that pawn. We won that case. You know?
Yeah. Some of the yes, we're winning these cases. One of the things that I really love is, and I know there's more people involved, but Fat Grammy, Audit LA, the idea that they're taking it to the civil court, right? To the town councils, to the public forums, saying, hey, here's what's going on here. We need to change the laws. We need to be able to pierce the veil of what's going on in these places, right?
Yeah, and everybody calling in. Yeah, and everybody calling in, supporting that and being, it's so. I try to do it. Sometimes I'm not in the headspace, so I don't feel. I just know. I'm like, no, Megs, Lara, Meg. I say Megs. Isn't that interesting? I say Megs when I'm referring to how I feel as my childhood. So I'm like, no, Megs. Yeah, Megs, Megs. Just give yourself some time. You don't have to force yourself. You know. I'm like, Lara, you got this.
Damn straight.
So yeah, I do that. I definitely do that where I do call my younger self Megan. So it's still endearing. It's endearing and upsetting. It's endearing and upsetting.
But it also creates that little separation, right? The who
For
I
sure.
was and
it
who
makes
I am,
me
right?
Yes, 100%. Lara FM. This is my radio station. I'll say what I want. If you don't want to be on this wavelength, get the fuck off.
Yes. There are a couple of things. So to the idea of religion, ceremonial ritual can be beneficial, and there's educational elements. You know, I'm somebody who comes from the belief that most of those religious elements were like the idea they have kosher laws. I'm not trying to offend Jewish people, but the idea that the reason you have kosher laws is because people would eat in this, they would bathe in the same place, and they'd eat the clams out of that place, and you'd get disease on that. And it was really a way to say, okay, to get these people to stop killing themselves, let's create kosher laws, right? That in regards to what's going on.
Right.
Now, I'm not trying to say that religious to dissuade you of your religious beliefs or anything of that nature, but for the most part, they do good. Even yes, the Catholic Church had a terrible problem with the priests and the choir boys, but the idea that they owned up to it to some degree, and they're trying to get over it.
Can I pause you? And this is so interruptive, but don't you agree that you say they mean to do good, they meant to do, or they mean well, right? And L. Ron Hubbard says man is basically good, right? So that's gross. But what is the definition of good then? Is it if you are 80%, 90%, almost for sure believing in what they want you to believe in? If you have a
Yeah.
thought for yourself, even on that path, are you now, ooh, I don't know, you're quite not look, you have to only believe this. So if you're not because that's how L. Ron Hubbard, right? He's like, it's if you read what I tell you and you think it's wrong or you don't understand it, you're missing something. And I do find that in all religions and all things, if you're not getting it, it's because you're not getting it. There's something here that you're not getting. And so in priests and all this stuff, at a certain point, it's like you say good or bad, or like, am I being a good person? In what degree? You know what's so shitty? It's in the degree of how brainwashed you are in the thing that you got really divulged into.
Yeah.
Is it not?
It is.
Like,
So,
if you're an Orthodox Jew, there's a whole difference between an Orthodox Jew and a regular Jew that's just walking around and fucking driving their freaking Teslas. And I mean, not that Orthodox Jews do not drive really nice cars, because they're very proud of that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I lived in Larchmont area. Yeah, for a while. And I was just like, this place is all Orthodox Jews.
Yeah.
And they've been living around here for a while. And I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm just saying it was re-stimulating, as they would say in Scientology, when I feel triggered about an engram or a visual. It was really creepy to see literally a religion that I thought was, I still have love and respect in a way for them. But when their children, literally the neighbors' children, they're all on certain days wearing the uniforms that look so similar to shit that I was wearing, and they aren't allowed to talk to me or say hi. The men are not allowed to talk to me on certain days. The women aren't, like, there's certain things where I'm just like, how do they not I just know that they're going, oh, look at them, they're not pure like us. That's what they're doing, because that's what we would do.
There is a separation. Right.
Is that what you mean by separation? Okay.
Well,
yeah.
Silo, or that the idea of
I'm better, I know more, and I
mentality.
don't feel bad for you. Once you know, it'll be great for you to come to my level. It's almost like that, even if you are pure love. So that's what I'm saying. What is good? Because good is love, right? So like, if you feel like, hey, I feel good about that, I did the most loving thing I could do, even though what they did was extremely disgusting, right? What is love? What is love? What's the Tina Turner song? What's love got to do with it? But like, so what's good and bad? What is love? Like, at a certain point, it's like, if a child is being controlled when they're clearly telling you, dad, mom, or what if I don't want to pray? What if I don't want to do that? Is that now bad? Yes. It's considered bad if you don't want to pray. What do you don't say that.
Yeah.
Change your wording. You translate. What is it? Lost in translation. Change your wording so that whatever you are saying doesn't sound the way you just said it.
Yes. So I do want to, I'll go back a little bit on what I said. That a couple of things. In a lot of the people that I like, the way that they react to the religion is, I will teach my children what I did, but I'll let them make a choice, right? And maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Oh,
I'm sorry about that.
Is that a thing? Is it a thing to not say Jews and to say Jewish?
Kind of. There is. That
Okay.
Jew is a derogatory. It can be considered a derogatory term, but
okay.
Jewish is
so
less.
Jewish is better to say.
Yeah. Now, I will say that I don't think there was any ill intent by anybody.
No, not at all. But I want to know that. See, I want to know. I want to. Then I'll be like, okay, I'll say Jewish.
One of the things that I kind of say that, hey, and I know Scientology is not a church, but it says church on the side of the wall, and I'm out there talking to the public. We're in front of a church. I go, hey, this isn't a church, right? And yes, there's other churches, the Catholic Church, the Lutheran, the Pentecostal mosques, things of that nature. And yes, they do take in money, just like Scientology takes in money. But in most other organized religions, money seems to flow in and out, that they tend to help the community. So, when has Scientology ever housed an unhoused, fed a hungry person? When have they ever clothed the unclothed? Whereas you're going to see that in many of these other organizations. Now, yes, that might be considered a fronting of those religions and all, but the idea that, hey, when you tell me that all religions take in money, I'm going to say that yes, but most religions also exhale money, whereas Scientology does not exhale money in any way, shape, or form. Right.
Yeah, I would say even going to Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah on the tour, it was really interesting, honestly, to see that the LDS and the Mormon, like they do help out their community. They do as the church, even if you've been dismissed or whatever, if you need help and you go to them for help, they don't say no. They literally like,
Right.
what do you, here you go. I hope you do well. They do help. They give them food. Like I've literally heard this from Crazy Love is Love and like other people in Utah where it's like, yeah, sadly they had a lot of people that I was talking when I was on tour in Utah being like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like how that's crazy. What do people think about the cult of all the cults in Utah? You know, like, and I was like, I don't know what they think, but I know that I'm definitely opening them up to a different way of hearing how they could be suppressing themselves literally in their own way by just abiding by some old-fashioned rule that doesn't make sense in the nowadays realm. And if it makes sense, everything like susceptible being adjustable to change or whatever. Things change. Nothing stays the same. Like
Correct.
so it just feels like it was interesting to be like, even if it was interesting because I was like, well, yeah, the Mormons are a cult and all that. Yeah, I do fucking believe that. I think honestly, I believe most religion, not spiritual. I'm talking about religions where you are demanded to do and say and be at certain areas at certain times and you have to do it. It's culty. It's culty.
Yep. And I would always make a difference.
And I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with anybody. It's culty, even if it's good and bad. It's culty. It's culty. There's no demanding way to be. You're supposed to be enjoying your loving life the way you are and be a good person. And if you feel you're not being a good person, work on it. Be a better person. That's the whole fucking point of life. There should be no demands of how you need to be or live in life. You do not hurt people. You be loving. You grow. You can be angry and passionate and learn from it. That's absolutely great. I'm giving myself advice while I go through this as well. But it's just at a certain point,
awesome.
There's no way to me at a certain point where the world wouldn't just go, Scientology is disgusting. How, like, okay, yeah, we can see how they got to where they are. That is disgusting. Why isn't it all like, we were wrong? Society's wrong for allowing Scientology to have ever gotten bullied, the IRS and all that. They like, good. So let's change it. Let's just change it. Why do we have to take long at things? Why can't we just say, here's the evidence, Judge? They're doing it. You're going to continue to see them doing this. They cannot do that. Like, this needs to be changed. There's a lot of majority of society I already knows would be absolutely okay with expelling Scientology from the United States of America, period. Get rid of it. You just typed that in. I was like, who said that? That's so nice. And I would. Oh my God.
And I you're 100% on all of that, right? The idea, and again, I'm not going to try to pick a fight with every religion that's out there. And I do think that there are some problems with religion. And I don't, my audience knows I'm an ordained minister, but I haven't practiced in the longest time. And I just didn't like it wasn't.
So what do you mean ordained minister? What did you do? What did you have to do that is so much more special than me?
I went to college. I have a pastoral degree, so I have a college.
Wow. So you're like, so what is the difference between ordained minister and I guess just a minister? Because any American be an ordained minister, right?
You can. You could go to.
They were doing that in Scientology.
The First Church of Love, or there's plenty of places out there where you can actually just sign up for a. So it's what most people do in order to be able to.
So why would you get a degree for that? Like, I'm really asking.
Oh no! So I was very much into the church, right? And it was a Pentecostal church, and we're seeing there are several people in here, and you take biblical study. So you research the Bible and you understand that. You take hermeneutics. How do I speak in front of people? How do I
And
orate?
so I've noticed there's many versions of the Bible. Is there a
Correct.
specific Bible version that that church uses?
No, it would.
What
It
is
would
the
have
church?
been
I don't even know if I can say it. Sorry.
Pentecostal.
Pentecostal. Am I
Yes.
saying it right?
Yes.
Pentecostal. Okay.
So
Cute. Learning and loving.
yes.
Okay, Pentecostal church. So like, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Fundamentalist Christian. So Christian, but fundamentalist, but there are much more fundamental. And when you say fundamental, more strict. So the
Okay.
Hasidic Jewish
Mhm.
person,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
extremely fundamental
Is
Jewish.
Hasidic kind of like Orthodox? Is that same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that the Orthodox, they're the
Because I
ones
heard,
that
yeah, I definitely heard Hasidic all the time there, or I would see, like, I lived right there. I was renting a little cute cottage in the back house of somebody.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was just like,
So
wow.
they
It
literally
was a
believe in the
reflection
books
of my life.
that
Mhm.
they have a literal, they have as close to a
Book.
literal belief in the Bible
Right.
as possible. Like that
Wow.
the Noah story had happened, and that there were exactly of two each animals and all of that stuff, and they literally believe in that. And then you've got more relaxed religions which believe in general, or the basis of the way that's teaching. And I apologize, I'm not trying to insult any religions that are out there,
No.
but
You're
that
just
was
teaching me. Never known anything of this.
so
Pardon his behavior. It's my fault.
there's a West Wing episode, and I don't know if you ever watched the West Wing, but it was right after the 9/11 plane crashes, and they had talked about the idea that they were talking about the Muslims and the idea of these terrorists that were in there. And yes, they were Islamic, but they were not Islam. The Islamic religion does not believe in what they believe in, and they made the correlation that the Ku Klux Klan is right wing Christianity, right? Just like Al Qaeda is right wing Islam, right? So Islam's not bad; it's extreme Islam is bad. Extreme Christianity.
That's what I was going to say. So, and in the same way that I brought up the Bible being in meshed into the whole court system and the judge, and we under the oath of God. Like, I'm going like, what the fuck does that mean? Hello, judge, help me. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean, God? What are you guys talking about? What have you been groomed? What, even in a good way, what have you been like? I'm empty on what that means. Like,
right.
And like, I was blown away when I was working for my boss for the very first time, Elena. And she would, I was making all her fruit bowls and And while I was doing that in the kitchen, she would sit in the main living room area and watch like science episodes, about the stars and this. And I was just like, is this the OT materials? I was like, this makes sense. I was like, I thought I had the best job. I did. Honestly, everything lining up to today, everything makes sense. I just felt like I could not believe what I was hearing, because I was like, why is this intelligent person that I work for that's not even that much older than me watching this awesome science shit? And this is what it's like, she's like, her little break that she can only watch a certain amount of, and she's watching like, and the stars have come through, and she's like eating her. And I was like, God, that looks so amazing. And here I am working, cutting up fruit. And I was like, this is the best. I'm like listening to magic. Like, the OT level, like that's just what I thought, I had just, by the way, when I was working for that person, I started working for her and her husband 15 years ago. I only met them through the neighbors, Grant Cardone and Elena's assistant. Grant Cardone, OT8s, and Elena Cardone, OT78s. They're OT8s now. The 10X, the real estate. I'm the fuck, like, he's insane. So I was working for them, and I told them, like, I told Jen, Grant's assistant at the time, I don't know if she's working for him, but I was just like, if I don't get more work, or you guys don't give me a few more bucks an hour or something, I can't keep coming all the way from downtown Los Angeles to freaking West Hollywood, Doheny, up the road down with my shitty Cadillac that I bought off some random ex-Scientology friend. Like, It's so stupid. I was just like, anyway. So then all of a sudden I get a phone call from this little cute voice, like, hi, we just need a little help. And that whole thing started. So it's just like, yeah, what is good? What is religion? What is cult? And also the Bible has been changed so many times. It goes full circle. How extreme is extreme? What do you mean by extreme religion and not? I mean, no, I know what you mean, but at a certain point, it's very disgusting for me, for example, and I know I say Scientology is not like a religion, but Scientology does mimic religions, right? To look like one. And one of the things they do is they like to slowly groom. I call it grooming. We call it grooming because that's just when you're a child. For me, you don't have that control or consent. So they slowly groom you into what their definition of extreme or not is.
True. And so,
and what is out 2D and what is grape?
We don't have out 2D in
but they have other things. It's like if you go in and you go in and get off
premarital, right? Premarital in most Judeo-Christian realms, premarital sex is verboten, right? In that process. Usually,
but
the
I'm
way that I would
there's
look
some
at
extreme Islam or some extreme religions where they literally sew the vagina.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, are you kidding? Sorry. If you are in a religion that is okay with that and all that, you can leave my channel now. And I'm sorry for having me on.
When I think about extreme, it's usually to the exclusion of all others, like Catholics and Protestants, while they have had wars in the past, they tend to get along now and they accept one another's religions and the Islamic faith. They accept those. When you get to extremism, then there's a high control comes out of it. So you see a lot of the high control groups are extremist in regards to to whatever religion they are, and that they exist they're to the detriment of all others, right? The idea no other could exist, right? So Scientology, while they say they believe in other religions, right? They
don't say they believe in them. They say all religions. They can believe each person can believe what they want of their religion, but they could also be a Scientologist.
Right.
They're saying, oh yeah, no, this is different. Our religion allows religions to be in our religion. That's what they say. And then when you get in, they slowly groom you to be separate from that religion and back to Scientology's behaviors.
Which I still don't understand how the NOI, so Nation of Islam, is fairly prevalent here in Chicago. How in the world are they taking courses? And I don't know, maybe they're only taking pre-clear courses, but there's no way in the world they could take confidential courses, right, and still believe in Islam, right?
What's his name? Farik?
What's
his name?
Farrakhan.
Farrakhan is OT3, OT5. Farrakhan is a scammer. Farrakhan is the head of the Nation of Islam of the West Coast, and he is integrated in Scientology. FSMs, everybody on it. He makes percentages of money every time anybody from the Nation of Islam does a course that they know or not is a Scientology course or not. And he gets a nice little percentage of that. He is literally bringing Scientology, Elron courses and all that into the Nation of Islam, saying, you have part of the becoming a member of the Nation of Islam, you have to do these courses. So he's saying you have to become a Scientologist to be a part of the Nation of Islam. And he's an OT3 or more. He's probably more now. He's probably way more. He's probably OT8, OT7. He's probably one of the regarded ones.
Still boggles my mind.
Still. Like, that's a big thing for people to hear. Do the research, guys. I know you're listening and you'll hear this on the replay. Do your research in the connection of Farrakhan and Scientology. Farrakhan is 100% connected in the growth and the structure and the expansion of Scientology. He's very much goes and talks. I saw him talk at a live event. He talked at a live event when I was a young cadet.
A
Yes.
Scientology event?
A
Okay.
big Scientology and where David Miscavige and welcome Louis Farrakhan. Yeah. So do your research. You are being manipulated. And they go, well, it's okay to bring Scientology in it a little. No, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that children are small bodies small bodies, big thetans. He believes that. He thinks, oh, yeah, anybody's capable of anything. Isn't that? So, yeah.
Tragic story. And we saw, so somebody videoed it. Chicago just has a high, I would guess that a third of the people that walk into there identify as Nation of Islam as well, in regards to what's going on in the Chicago org. And they had the Friday is graduation night, and
Yeah.
you could see all of the people in the traditional Islamic wardrobes.
You know what's
talking
so
highly of
effed
what they
up? Look, see, I'm learning. I said effed up. It's because Wendy's here.
the
I
fuck?
feel like I can't say fuck too much. What the fuck, Laura? You're supposed to say fuck. What's so effed up is I've been to so many flag graduations where they had so many different things of different countries. And they came in and they're holding their OT3. And then in the new, media little pamphlet open 2 months, 3 months later, you see that person in their outfit in OT3.
Yep.
And they're going and they're disseminating. Not only are they so into it, right? It's like a freaking gym pass or something. Like, hey, if you're into the gym pass and you got your friends, so you get your friends in it and they're liking it too. You're like, yeah, and you're making 20% off of all of the things they ever buy in the gym. Yep. Why not? And you tell them like, hey, and you can also do it too. So then they start getting people in like, oh, well, you don't have to really believe in that stuff. Just do this stuff. The communication part is good. You guys are idiots. Grooming and brainwashing, all that can happen to an adult. It doesn't have to happen to a young child only. Grooming can happen to an elderly. It can happen to anybody. So no, they get you into the structure of the outside of what you won't be okay with. And then eventually you will be okay with it. You'll just be calling it something else.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, guys, do your research. If you ever get offended by something we're saying, do your research. Do your research without a permanent, already known decision of what you think you're researching already. Do your research as if you wanted to find the worst thing you could find out about it.
You can even have a point of view as long as you'll be okay to having a changed point of view.
Right? No, just kidding. Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember hearing the stories about Farrakhan getting that he's getting some kind of percentage on each of those, and in the cards that we saw in
same with Grant Cardone, same with John Travolta. He was the number one fucking start of the Kirstie Alley. Actually, she's the one who started it. Guess who she was the FSM of? John Travolta.
Nice.
So she's making a certain percentage of everything John Travolta ever does for the rest of his life in Scientology. And then guess what John Travolta's doing? I go to Africa, I go here, I do this up, I get people in all the courses they do up. Just made $50,000 in 3 days just by being a Scientologist. So like and I get off my crimes that the outside world thinks are illegal. It's not illegal. I'm just aberrated. I can't fix it. I can't help it.
We in the trashy V12 BMW, by the way, we think he's coming back to Chicago. I don't know if you ever saw him.
Oh, heck
he was
yeah.
on the Chicago
Yeah.
He, when part of the collection of trash that he got out of the garbage can there was
he's the one who inspired me to demand Scott to get the Aaron Cairo shit out of the San Fran. I was like, get that. No, you can get it if it's open. And Scott was like, I'm already here, babe. I'm getting it. And I was like, get it.
No fighting.
And that shit's so important. Yeah, no fighting.
Nice.
But yeah, so trashy BMW, Chicago. Who else is there in Chicago?
Nance Drew, but Nance has to stay away for a little bit longer until that kind of clears up. But I think we can go live again now.
Okay.
Corn Freak, Never in Nana.
Never in Nana.
Heli Gear. Heli Gear's a riot. And she's also, have you ever seen her? She goes up on stage all the time too. She's a little bit more rock and roll than a lot of your music.
You've never seen me live, Wendy.
This is true. Free Xeno
I was like a
Project,
little more
Juanita.
rock and roll than what? Some people are like, she's like punk rock. I'm like, am I a little too? All of a sudden, I got pop, and then I got a little rock and roll, and then I went punk rock.
We talked about this, that I'm a big fan of singer-songwriters, and I've told everybody all the time, I love stories. So
Mhm.
I love if the song tells a story, that's great. I understand that I'm going to tap my foot to the beat of the music, but like if you just played music, it's not overly interesting to me. But
Uh-huh.
I want to listen to a good story, and if you can
Right.
tell a good story, I want to listen to it. So
Um, do you think that is there any song that you might have heard of mine that I've done that made you feel like it was a story I was telling?
I do like the Love and Learn is one where it's right. I mean, it's just an obvious, right. This is
Yeah.
just as I reach out and go through life, these are the things that I'm going to love and learn about. The reference that I would always make. Do you remember like the old, boom, 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 let's go back to my room? I always felt like there's no story there. You're just trying to, you're.
I
It's
don't.
just,
Do you remember when people say, "Do you remember?" I'm like, no, I don't remember anything. And not that I don't remember. I never experienced it. They're like, "Do you remember in the 80s?" I'm like, "No." Do you remember the 90s? No. If it was a TV or anything like that, no. I never had it. We never had it. We couldn't watch it. Like the MTV, I'm like, no. I liked it later when I was cleaning hotel rooms in the penthouse for Grant Cardone to come visit and Tom Cruise. Like, but I was like sneaking it, watching like what is it? I forget what it was, some MTV show, and I was like something, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I need to know what happens on this next part. I have to wait, and then people would come and I would have to close it and like pretend I was wiping down the furniture or something, and Grant would be coming and like, oh hey babe, I'm like 15 years old, 16 years old. I'm like, oh hi sir. No, I didn't say
it's
sir to
icky.
him. I was like, oh hey Grant. Like, oh good, you're
Definitely
going
icky.
back to your ethics program. Good.
What you were
Disgusting.
music. Oh, when I was a child, and most of my life growing up,
Mm-hmm.
I really liked things that were 25 years older than what I never listened to what would have always been called pop music. And I always jokingly say that
The real
yeah,
world.
I think yeah,
Sorry. I was
no,
totally sorry. I was like, somebody will know. They're like, what was going on in 2001 and 2 and 3? The real
awfully
world MTV. I had to write so many overts and withholds. I was watching the real world in the penthouse. Couldn't leave the Sea Org until I got up those
well,
withholds.
does
But
Grant
yeah.
get in trouble because he's able to watch that? Like, why does Grant
No,
have
they're
those
not
channels?
Sea Org. They're not Sea Org members.
Oh, that's right.
They can
Okay.
watch TV. They have to make it feel like a normal hotel, right?
Yeah.
But if they're watching a channel that's all of a sudden saying something negative about Scientology, they would, in their own mind, just switch the channel, put it away. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm not. This is negative. Oh my god, ugh, can't believe that channel's even allowed. We need to ban that channel from the Fort Harrison Hotel." Literally, I think I have to sneeze.
All you get is the
But
one
yeah,
Scientology DirecTV Scientology channel.
no, and they didn't even have that at that time. They didn't even have it.
Wow. I was an early adopter to DirecTV, and I was always surprised by what is this Scientology channel? Because I had always seen late night commercials, right? So I was a night owl, and I would always see the late night commercials with the volcano, the Dianetics volcano books. So that's what my first understanding of Scientology was, and then South Park comes along, and then basically the Aaron and all of the other people coming out. Right?
The volcano thing, don't you think like you're kind of like, oh, that looks kind of trippy and weird and stupid, right?
Yeah.
But then when the South Park, did you feel like, oh yeah, see, we knew we were right. I'm so glad I didn't get involved in that.
No, so that I knew a little bit about the crazy. I didn't know about the Wall of Fire, right? So all the stuff that was going there. Now I did know that it was very culty at that point in time, but I didn't know the crimes. Definitely,
Did you know it was culty because of the Wall of Fire things that you knew?
No. So prior to that, it always looked like an MLM to me, because it was buy.
What's
You, you
MLM?
multi-level marketing, right?
Okay.
The idea that you bought the book and that's what made you a Dianetic, or that's what made you that's another thing. In other religions, they give you the Bible. You don't buy the Bible.
Uh-huh.
They give you the
So it
Quran.
made you feel like you have to get something out of it or something.
Yeah. And the when they were
You,
doing it
at
was
this time when
Dianetics.
you had the Dianetics book, were you a minister or no?
I was already so I had stopped being a minister.
Okay.
Like I didn't
Sorry.
read
Allergies.
Dianetics until about 5 years ago. So, all right, did you swallow a cat?
No, I have allergies, so a cat hair or something is like. But I was like, I'll probably sneeze, so I just mute myself while I'm not talking. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, it just feels. I just feel like I do feel like there was something in the original Dianetics book that had some weird crazy shit in it that some people were like either racist or whatever that were like, yep, all right, this is the book, yep, it worked for me, like. And I just feel, and then it was changed with David Miscavige a bunch with all his BS, like, oh, the revised version of Dianetics, whatever, right? So I feel like that was just, oh, let's get, we're having a lot of, court issues, legal issues with all these like racial things and the Dianetics. So let's just pull it out because people aren't really being attracted to this, right? So they change it. And by this time, just like the Bible and all these things that get changed so much, it begins to make me wonder, like, why are we so afraid of change? Why are we so afraid of knowing, yes, we have changed the Bible a bunch because, of course, we don't agree with what was normal fucking 700,000 years ago or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Why are we not okay with just being like, it's okay to like have people question you and change things in your own environment so you can question yourself and going, oh, okay. Oh, look at that. I stopped doing that. And I feel much better. I feel relaxed. Like, why was I doing that? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just like, I feel like human, as you say, intentions are good. So why are people shut down or chopped when they're asking something that's even in a not very, religious space to be asking? It's like, well, isn't that the whole point? Shouldn't somebody feel so open to ask whatever they want without insulting, without anything, especially in a spiritual situation where somebody should have the ability to be dealing with human beings, obviously, if they think they're at such a spiritual level?
Right.
That could have some difficulty with understanding, like, hey, how do I know what you're saying to me is actually going to benefit me spiritually or not? Or are you just fooling me again, like everybody in the world?
I think where you're going is absolutely the idea, stupid, Reagan, trust but verify. The idea that you should do research in this, and it's fine that you come into it with a point of view, but if a fact refutes what you're thinking, you should honor the fact, right? And I'm one of those people that thinks there's only one set of facts, right? There's, everybody's, what is it? Short stories and acceptable truths, right?
Right.
Are just the stupidest things in the world to me. It's like, no, that's a lie, right?
Right.
That's there is no acceptable truth. There's the truth.
Right.
Now, people have
Right.
different
I struggle
recollections.
with the truth. I struggle with the truth. And it's
people
probably
have
because I
different
don't have
recollections.
as much knowledge. And so I'm trying to fill that vacuum, that hole, that vacuum of going, well, help me not struggle with the truth. Fill me in so I can. And it's hard to separate. Like, am I getting programmed? Am I getting groomed? Or am I actually getting the truth? The
Yeah, and
struggle of my life.
well, think about the idea that most everything that we get, yes, when it's written down, it's a little bit more formal and more permanent, so it's less likely that it changes. But we know, to your point, the Bible looks different today than it did, 7,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago. The other one is that when we tell stories, two people saw the exact same event, but if you told them to write it down, you're going to get two different stories, and neither one of them thinks they're lying. They just didn't recall it the same way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've learned to also be sensitive with people when I'm starting. I can feel when I'm pushing a boundary or something where they're like, "Well, that's not what I," and I'm like, "Okay. Okay.
Like,
Well, that's where once I can see that something emotionally is not being intelligent in the conversation, I'm learning to also be like, okay, well then it's just that's where we're gonna stop talking because that's where I'm no longer interested that much.
it's the one of my objectives is trying not to increase the number of enemies that I have. So it's like when you get to that point, it's like, okay, I don't need to make another enemy. We can live with this.
Yeah.
So, all right. I don't know what time it is in California. I do know what time it is here in Chicago.
It's 9:45. It's pretty it's crazy how long we've been on here.
But
I haven't done a long run like this in a minute, other than protesting. But
yes.
yeah, right now it's 9:45 p.m. PST.
I think I need to go get myself a barley soda and get ready for bed. But
me too. That's very cute. I'll probably get more than a barley soda, but
you can get wheat soda and corn soda too.
I might get them all and more.
Yes. I really enjoyed
Okay.
it. And by the way, stop saying it's an interview. It's just two people having a fun conversation.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. I'll delete that later.
Do what I said.
Hey, look it. The witch there said it's been a wonderful interview. It was good. I just knew it would be an interview that would be more conversational and not like, and what did you think when, like, I knew it wouldn't be like that.
And I like, when I've talked to everybody and the people that I have talked to, I've tried to explain to them, I'm not Conan O'Brien trying to do an interview here. I'm interested. We're going to have conversations. We're going to talk to one another. And
yeah,
we both come from, I like, I, as a never in, always like talking to former Scientologists because I get educated. And I've said this so many times in my lives that you're the people that are educating me so that I understand how I can possibly penetrate or refute the things that they're saying. Right. I don't look like an airhead idiot out on the street because I have more knowledge based upon
and you guys are teaching us how to like say the words intelligently that we've been waiting and fighting and biting at since we were kids, that were like, oh, what are we trying to say? We weren't nourished in this language for so long that now we sound like idiots, but we have a strong message and we don't know how to fucking get it out there. So you guys are teaching us and giving us that voice. You're giving us that strength. You're making our stories like heard. So it feels very cool. We're learning extremely. We're learning and loving.
Yes.
And sometimes not so loving, but we are learning. And in the end, sometimes the heart is loving.
Correct. I still say that everybody's got the right intention and that their primary objective is correct. Sometimes there's some friendly fire, but they're basically pointing in the right direction.
Yeah.
So,
cool. I love that.
I don't know if we did anything off of our little outline, but
we covered a bunch. No, we covered a bunch. There's a few things we didn't, but I think we covered. Yeah, there we go. Because we need a reason, Windy.
Yes. All right. I've had a great time tonight. Thank you so much for chatting with us. I think that the audience enjoyed it.
Yes, it was fun. Hi, Cece. 2024 year of truth.
I hope so. Yeah,
right. It's coming.
You have a lovely evening, folks. I've had a great time here tonight. Thank you so much. Take care now.
Bye.